Times have changed, but so can you. So can you. For too long about the mistakes, while I resent, I learned to hate. Forgot your names. Fear the struggle to follow on. Need to focus to prove you're wrong. I'm not wrong. I know I'm holding on to this. Holding on. I know I'm holding on to this. Holding on. Don't let me repeat it. Don't let me repeat it.
Feelings, it's like I can't walk on the ceiling. Oh yeah, got me dreaming, dreaming in colors I never dreamed in. Oh yeah, I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed. Skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh. Magic, no, I'm never letting go. Now that I have it with you. When you kiss me, it's like the stars fall out the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed. Skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby. message from a new world I'd never known. Something about it felt like it'd been waiting my whole life. Is this home? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing. And suddenly it feels like heaven's not so far away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? Panic, panic, I can't help but think that it's meant to be, that I'm finally right where I'm supposed to. If I let you into the secret, would you listen? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing. And suddenly it feels like heaven's not so far away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? Panic, panic, and before too long, I found where I belong. I can hear it, I can hear it, oh. I can't stop the rush, every note I touch. I can feel it saving me. Tell me, can you hear the symphony?
I wanna know your dark side. I wanna know your secrets. I wanna be your lifeline. So I wait for you, wait for me. Wait for you, wait for me. Tell me you're more than just a highlight. Pretty pictures on the outside. I hate to stare at you through these lights. So I wait for you, wait for me. Wait for you, wait for me. Click and scroll, I can't let you go. They say I'm addicted to you. Click and scroll, I can't let you go. They say I'm addicted to you.
snow. When it falls in the wind, you know. And you, oh you say you wanna dance. You're wary, you know, you'll end up in the wrong hands. And you're having fun. Why don't you show your friends? And you're having fun. What if it never ends? I'm lacking sincerity, but you don't care at all. And this booze, this cigarette's trying to take me home. Falling in love just a million times, breaking it off with the feeling on ice still. She's as cold as December. I swear I've seen you before, holding your shoes in your hands, running out that door. And you are nothing, but you say you wanna dance. And you're wary, you know, you'll end up in the wrong hands. I'm lacking sincerity, but you don't care at all. And this booze, this cigarette's trying to take me home. Falling in love just a million times, breaking it off with the feeling on ice still. She's as cold as December.
I'm cutting dice. Look at these eyes. They're not here to please you. There was a time you could be mine before all that you put me through. I knew that you were trouble, but I let that you were fine. I'm living in this bubble and it makes you so mad. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can watch me go, 'cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can watch me go, 'cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can watch me go, 'cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can watch me go, 'cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me.
The seasons come and go like thoughts of you. Like a wave returns to the sea into the blue. They change but in a cycle that I can't lose. Each painful but delightful to live through. You came into my life just like another season. Not for long, just a time, just like another season. Maybe this time next year you'll reappear for no reason, but I'll cherish every day until you come my way this season. The seasons turn and change just like your mind. Like the sun gives into the moon, into the night. Time continues marching, it slowly crawls. With each new one starting, I recall. You came into my life just like.
Welcome back, everybody, to the NECC. Familiar faces all around. My name's Infernosis, joined here by my good friend Binks, and we've got ourselves our sixth today, straying away from some of the other FPS shooters out there, and we're falling back to some of the basics for the collegiate scene here, Binks, as it is Fisher College facing off against Akron Esports, two of the top giants who came into nationals here, top seeded, and well, no upsets across the board. They took 2-0 the whole playoff side for both teams, a forfeit apiece, but you know, still 2-0 apiece. It's fine, to say the least. They're not going to have to face off with the biggest prize pool here for the national side.
Yeah, they're both looking to prove themselves, and they've shown first seed and second seed. This is always what you expect out of a tournament. Lovely that we actually get to see it. Now it's going to be the clash of the Titans. And the real question that I'm looking for is, are we going to see what would be a supposed upset with the second seed being able to conquer? Is this going to be the stereotypical David versus Goliath matchup?
It's a big question. I think for both these teams, they have a lot of history, a lot of precedent out there, and they faced each other quite a few times. I believe at the CR6 LAN that they both attended in Ohio. Fisher did manage to take the win over them at the very beginning of it. But past that, I think in their most recent bout, Akron did take the W, and they did have a substitute for that LAN event, so that could also be a reason why that occurred. Either way, I don't think there's a sub for Akron. I may be wrong, but I know there's a sub somewhere in here. But let's go and take a look at the rosters first and foremost. We won't dwell too much on these teams. Everybody should know them. If you are an R6 person and watching the broadcast, you care about collegiates, you absolutely know what's going on. Stabadextrous, Hennessy, Jobu, Kosa, and Arv, who I believe is actually subbing in for the Akron side. I believe.
Yes, that
is
is
who
correct.
they have as their sub?
Arv is going to be.
I know he's at the
subbing in
bottom
for
of the
today.
list for them, so that would make sense. We did have a long thing. I am not going to say Arv 15368490027 every single time, because that's just ridiculous. Let's go ahead and take a look over at the Fisher side here as well. We're going to go ahead and call out everybody. Akron has a lot of history. They're somewhat older roster. The same thing cannot be said for Fisher here, Banks.
Yeah, a lot of new blood. Looking at Build-A-Bear, Capybara, Maple Syrup, Bathrobe, as well as Gohan, where you have 3 freshmen, and it's going to be going to the sophomore who are only in their 2nd year of college to have to lead things up. But this does mean that they're able to bring a lot more of a newer edge to... I know it's not Build-A-Bear, it's just going to mess with me the entire night, but this entire roster has a lot of potential to bring a new sort of perspective to the game, Scott. And I'm looking forward to seeing if they're going to spice things up, play things a little bit new Siege.
I'll make a formal apology here to Beezer right off the rip. They specifically
It's
said,
Beezer. I
Banks,
know
that
it's
it is
Beezer.
not Bear. Gonna call you out on that one. And
You
that is
should
the
call
only
me out.
fact. We get facts here at the NECC, even the players.
Beezer,
They
I
fill out a
know
form.
it's Beezer. And that's
They fill out a form. Beezer's only fact out of everything on there for the whole team. Beezer's only fact, not Bear, and you're poking people's buttons here. You're trying to rile them up here. You're trying to poke the, I won't say Bear, poke the Beezer here and try to get them into the action. I don't know. Maybe it works. Maybe Fisher get into the high gear. Maybe the Zips just take them 3-0. But this is a full best of 5. And speaking of that 5, that's 5 maps. Let's go ahead and pull them up and see what's on the chopping block. And speaking of these maps and this screen, you'll have to ignore the slight discrepancy for the actual selection. I swear that it is correct. This screen, however, is not in terms of order, but our map selection is, in fact, Oregon, Chalet, Cafe, Skyscraper, and Theme Park.
Yeah, I really like these maps. It's 3 comfortable picks for these teams to settle in on now. And if things go according, they win out their map pick. Those final 2 of Skyscraper, where by the time we get to Skyscraper, someone is going to be able to win that match out. Or even if we can get to Cafe. But if you're on Skyscraper, they have a chance to win the entire Nationals tournament. They have to do it on a map that they might not be as comfortable on. Or same with Theme Park. These are not your comfort picks. A lot of those were taken out early on with those bans, and I'm a huge fan of it. And this could be Fisher's plan to bring that new Siege into play, and I'm all here for it.
Typically, Oregon is the map where good teams go to die, so having that be your first pick means that you're maybe extremely comfortable, or maybe you know something. Like we said, these 2 teams have faced off before. They have a little bit of history in that regard, and so there could be something there in terms of plausibility, but I would say it's a little bit more likely that it's just a comfort pick for him right off the rip. But this map pool's been like this for quite a while here, Picks, and I'm sure that all these teams, especially when you get to the higher levels, this is Legends, right? This is as high as you can get here for the NECC, and possibly for a lot of the collegiate scene as a whole. NECC's done a wonderful job this semester of getting you some of the best teams in the nation to finally come into R6. We've had it forever for Valorant, and we're finally apparently having to come in for the old Ubisoft classic. Fisher and Akron, like you said, 2 giants facing off head to head. Every map is something that they can play well on. Maybe 1 or 2 weak ones, but they would have banned that outright in a full BO5. They get their pick right off the rip. They would have gotten rid of it straight on the go ahead. And now they get to pick who they want to play and not play when it comes to our operator selection.
So first attacker to go is going to be Ying. That's going to be a lot of more initiating style, being able to throw those Candelas in right off the board, and Nook going to be banned out by Fisher. So that's going to be interesting to see the clear of both these teams on the attack, but that also means that Thatcher will be escaping. And moving on to the defensive side, I can only assume that the information is going to be countered with the Valkyrie, and there it is. I was able to get my map pick, and I'm going to quit while I am ahead, Scott.
For a map like Oregon, it is still somewhat defaults. Nook and Ying. The Ying is the only one that could be considered a surprise, but she has been banned quite a lot recently, especially in the collegiate scene. Candelas are extremely annoying to work with. The TSLW is a ridiculously strong weapon. You just don't want to have to worry about it. The mirror being taken off the board is also really good. Mostly you don't want to have to deal with Black Mirror, the extra information, highlight Valkyrie's Black Mirrors. You don't want to deal with the cams everywhere. Might as well get rid of everything. You're going to go ahead and deny information. Just deny everything. Arv, apparently, from the Akron side, the Zip saying they are in a T-Mobile hotspot. Let's hope that that does not fail them. Otherwise, that would be a horrible sponsor plug. Just a reminder, that is not a sponsor plug. But if their thing goes out, then that is, in fact, why the Zips have a sub and apparently are having a lot of internet issues, as we were discussing during the break.
Yeah, I believe there might be a bad weather storm moving through.
Awful storm.
Awful storm. I'm up here in Canada. All I have to deal with is smoke. So that's great.
I think you have more fears, actually, that you need to be worried about.
Yes, I very much. I'm outside working, and I'm like, okay, I can't see, no visibility, oh, can't breathe. But that really brings us as more of a allude to not breathing, not being able to see with Fenrir, which is the newest operator in the NECC Siege, which is already being taken in this first round.
Fenrir is extremely strong when it comes to these tighter corridors and hallways, especially when it comes to the newer maps that obviously are not yet in this map pool. But for a map like Oregon, some of the tighter halls like you see down leading in from Freezer, as well as even the stairwell dropping in from rear stage, you can make great use of the Noxus cans. You can make great use of being able to get that fear factor out and really limit the vision in those very important corners where that first fight, or really the second fight after the first initial win or loss, goes either the way of the attack or the defense. It gives you a fallback plan. It gives you that next level, a little bit of an edge. It's like having a frost mat under a doorway. They breach in through the window. They've got to look down first and foremost. That is 1 second given to you, maybe a little less for some of the best players out there, but that is a certain amount of time given straight to you as a player to lock in and shoot them before they have the chance to fight back, because no matter what, they're pincered in. Kills for both sides, though. It seemingly was Fisher getting the go-ahead right off the rip, and will continue to be so. Only 2 kills, though, gained for their side, with one going the other way, but with 40 seconds only off the clock, that's a pretty solid way to start.
Yeah, new operator already gone, but great use of the Rotero drone. This is probably one of the best gadgets that has escaped, and that's gonna be able to get rid of the new observation utility blocking capabilities of the Akron side, as we see a push in through rear stage as well as blue bunker. The entire narrative this round really pushing towards clearing out towards B. You have 3 defenders that are gonna hold that down, and it's making it very clear that Akron want to hold it down. They don't want to back up and give any leeway while they can.
With Jetgon's death currently guaranteed, being the second blood here for the Akron side, they no longer can reactivate or change which util are currently active, because you do have more than what can currently be in use. The one downside to Fenrir, though. A lot of good players, if they make use of that for the later stages of the round, they just have to play smart around their utility. Speaking of that utility, the Rotero drones being wielded out by Fisher. Trying to make quick work of some of that utility placed over there by Tarp. Danger still present. Despite having the man advantage, they don't have a safe space to work forward. And on top of that, Beezer tries to swing in quickly alongside Robe, and they all lose their life right off the rip. Hennessy frag back once again. This one on a Maple. 1 player left. It's Cappy. And this does not seem a likely scenario for the Fisher College side, as it seems round 1 may just be over. But 60 seconds is a lot of time for miracles to happen. Still has 1 E1E. Drone is out and raiding. You're just trapped over on backstairs. There's nowhere truly left to go here, Banks.
You gotta make sure you're isolating the frag, and what you see on the side of Akron is you have both the Capcan and the Jaeger, who was holding that in more of a reactive stance, but that just opened an opportunity with the frag. But Jobu able to get that quick refrag, playing the smoke down below. That was set up to make sure that they can't isolate the frags, but the Jaeger getting aggressive did allow for a little bit of isolation to stop the crossfire. So a little bit of worry, but no fear, as Akron went out their first defensive round, and they're going to have to move right on up to the second floor kids and dorms.
You say no fear, but the Fenrir had an absolute presence in that round. The attempt to swing in from rear stage really caught Fisher off guard right off the rip and made it a little bit more difficult to go for the refrags. They still did go positive for a 2-for-1 trade, but that is also a game of Akron kind of testing the waters here early. Basement round is successful for them, though, in that 2v1 that closed out there at the end, and now they get to pick their second objective of choice. They move up to the second floor, and they're going to opt to continue to wield the Fenrir in the hands of Jackpot. IMAT is playing that Solus. Tons of information still available, with the fact that there's now 3 extremely valid options for information gathering. I'd argue 4 even, if you really do want to bring out the Mozzie and find success with the drone, so it's a little bit more difficult in a competitive environment. It's impossible to ban all of them. The Mira and the Valkyrie are still the go-to options. Mira, because you do not want to deal with the bulletproof wall. You don't have to worry about it being swung at any moment for free. Valkyrie cams at the very least you could fire back at, and Solus you can roam clear to kind of get the job done. But Solus is still extremely profitable for a defending side to work with, especially when it comes to maps like maybe we'll see later on, but maps like Villa, having to deal with the pressure coming in on Cafe as well. Skyscraper has a little bit of that one, though it's a little bit harder to roam for free down towards Bar because you do have that little skylight that you have to worry about. And it's okay on Theme Park, but you don't really want to sit on the first floor anywhere but throne if you're on the defense.
Early round from Fisher. They did a great job previously of trying to drone things out, get the early pick all off information. This does look to be a bit of an aggressive as Beezer as well as the Sledge Lion and Cappy are all springing onto site. Imian as well as Beezer all to capitalize onto their kills. Refrag. The Bees are absolutely on a ringer. Going to collect 2 as Plant is already going to be attempted in the back of Dorms.
The swing in through big window has worked for a lot of teams. It's a big collegiate special in the last year. Fisher with a 3v1 have seemingly guaranteed and cemented themselves in this round. JetCon, though, still alive and thriving, has plenty of chances to find impact. 40 seconds, though, ticking away. Still trapped on white stairs. Jackie behind bomb chassis, not too concerned about that pressure, but they know there's big window players, and unfortunately, despite getting damage out, the crossfire is reswung, and it'll be Beezer to find the final frag to save their teammate's life and give themselves the tying round needed to go 1-1.
Let's break that down really quickly because all the players on Fisher were able to get into position really quickly, and it was assisted by a lot of the information you had. The EE1D used in great effect, and that gave me chills to just when Lion was first released, where you have that fear factor. That was actually instilled into their opponent because of how you were acting on that relevant information. When you activated that EE1D, you knew for a fact none of those players would be able to move, otherwise they'd be given away. You already know where they are. So great choice by Fisher, and I think that was definitely the right choice to boycott going for that roam clear. Because you mentioned Solus, that's going to be a heavy roam clear. Why not just go around it? Why not deal with things as you can? And in retaliation, we are going to see Hennessy taking that Frost.
Oh. How many times do you see a repeat of objectives? Well, if you're talking about the collegiate scene, pretty much all the time. An old phrase used to repeat all the time. I hate seeing the same objective twice. It breeds a level of complacency. Issue arises in that statement, though. It's Akron. They can do what they want. They're top of the top when it comes to the collegiate scene. They're cream of the crop. They can do what they want. Nothing I can say will truly change their opinion, because nothing I would say would even have any candle to the flames of their strategy and what they're capable of as players. Maybe another collegiate team would be a difference. I did pretty much solo a whole collegiate team at the CR6 LAN, but they also lost the CR6 LAN on day 1. So there's a total difference between the comparison of these rosters. Akron is the best for a reason. The Ella, I think, is an interesting decision for Akron here on the defense. I think the Gersmut Lions are really good about hallways and pressure in general, but if you were going to worry about that, you would just bring out Finra. I know it's the same exact job, cuts down vision, is a little bit harder to utilize. You have to be a very information heavy team, not just about gathering information, but realizing where players likely are at certain points of the round. And that comes with experience and time. It's not something that can be taught just on the rip. It's something that really has to be learned throughout years of time for Akron, and that has been the case for them. They have been, I'll just say, IMAT alone seems like they've been here for 15 years. When are you going to graduate, my guy? It's ridiculous. But love having you here. It's Akron has that experience. They have that repertoire.
We can also look over to Fisher, where we have Beezer taking the Grim, who was just recently changed and given a much needed buff to have the instant activation on his Hive gadget. So as we go and push towards site, as the roam clear onto IMAT is well underway, you could be using these Hives to force out this rotate, but you also have to make sure to check every corner. It's going to be Jet to capture the first frag onto an unsuspecting Himhan. So very evened out. The roam was taken care of. You also have JetCon, who was able to rotate back to site. So a great early round for Akron. Interesting to see if this util usage from the side of Fisher will pay off.
Interesting that Gohan would be that far through Zulu without having the Gemini replicator be the piece of util to swing that way. It's not like they're too concerned with time. They easily would have had time for it to recharge once or even more, twice early into this round. Maybe they feel the pressure early. Floorboard holes being utilized by the attack, shockingly enough, not the defense of Akron. You'd expect those hell holes to be utilized. That gives another blood over to the Fisher side and a man advantage back their way. And with Beezer locking down big window behind the Osa barricade and utilizing those pests as best they can, Akron are in a tough spot. They can't swing over there towards Bunk, and they've got to play likely over towards Games instead. I suppose Trophy, where JetCon currently lies in wait, no longer on that Fenrir. The Malusi tucked away in a corner. Banshee likely nearby. Without having anything to clear that away, this could be a dangerous spot for Maple to try to swing through. You have to worry first and foremost about the pressure from windows. But there's a player inside Kid's room. It'll set that window usually gets breached open quickly. Beezer had rotated there initially. It doesn't seem like the pressure is going to stop from Fisher. They're pincering in, not from Big Tower and Master Bedroom like you used to see 9 or 10 months ago. It's straight from Arsenal Hall. Shetcon finally deals with Maple. It's just Beezer left standing, and Jobu gets the job done. It's an easy round for Akron as Fisher just fell to time and did not have enough strength on that pincer.
Yeah, they did a great job cleaning up at the very end of that round, and it all came down to those unsuspecting positions. We can go and look over towards Trophy, and it was just, that was the first domino that started to fall in the final 30 seconds of that round, where the moment you have the pick, every single other player on the side of Fisher who was looking for the information that would have been gathered by the Malusi pushing into Trophy was just not there. What I need to start seeing from Fisher in that sort of scenario is I want to see a more uniform goal of taking a certain part of the map. So yes, they did have that in the early round, and it's the hardest to convey that in the late round. But working together, maybe trying to play for those closer angles. I would have liked to see possibly a push up to White Stairs, only isolating a certain part of the map rather than going and playing for picks in those final 30 seconds.
Back down to the basement we go. Akron have tested their accolades when it comes to the second floor. Have gone 1 for 1, and why go somewhere else? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It is a total difference operator selection, not in its totality, but a pretty darn different one for Akron. They have the Azami out here in the hands of IMAT, the Doc for an extra stim assistance. I think Thunderbird has been utilized quite a bit for some teams because they did have that buff in terms of how quickly the canisters can be used. Kaid's on the board there for Ov. Gonna go ahead and Electric Claw out those hatches from below, just slowing down Fisher. They didn't utilize the hatches very often in round 1, but they do have to have an issue when it comes to swinging in from Tarp, which did net Fisher 3 losses on that attempt for life. JetCon's on the Malusi. It worked before. Why not bring it right back out? And the smoke for Javu. Akron have a very solid defensive setup, if not a little bit strange there with the Doc choice, but Hennessy can rock what they want because Fisher have not yet found an answer for the basement side, and it's the ball in their court, so to say, aptly fitting for the NBA Finals, having been up just recently. And we'll have to see whether or not this one goes to game 5 instead of game 7, you know?
You got a valid point there, and great use of the Twitch drone in combination with the Rotero. This forcing a lot of the players from Akron right back down, and you do have the extension from Iman. I'm a huge fan of this because it's going to require a lot of utility to be expended towards the area, as Iman will take a tiny bit of damage and rotate back, and that is the beauty of that setup. The ability to rotate back will burn that extra 30 seconds. And if Fisher is unable to account for that or unable to work in absolute tandem, then it's that little time burn that will force Akron to be able to win off the use of those Banshees, those smoke canisters.
Well, maybe a little bit more dangerous. Maybe tossing the keep barricades slightly lower would have meant that your feet could not be fired back upon. Fisher doing a wonderful job of going prone to make sure they could hit the floorboards and force IMAT away from that apex front. With that rotate, like previously mentioned, back towards security, they have a way to drop quickly down White Stairs and reaggress down on the basement side, where the site actually lies, and wait for the rest of the team to come in and finally turtle once Fisher starts to apply that active pressure. And you can see IMAT currently lying wait over towards Zulu Hall, just waiting to see if they hear any noise over towards kitchen, if they break down that keep a barricade. Nothing just yet, though Cappy has obviously droned out that kitchen side, made sure nobody is still lying in wait. But that's not what the concern is. IMAT does not need to go for the fight. Hennessy can get the job done by themselves. First blood, 2 minutes into the round, and it's Akron to strike first. They'll find the second on top of it. Hennessy is uncontested. 2 in a row and seems insurmountable, but Arv's there for the assistance, dropping down hatch, caught by the ACG, hit him in the head. It's done and dusted. Arv, one more, make it 2. Akron find themselves round 4 clean as a whistle right at the end.
I remember the glory days of that pistol, and I've got to say that 44 Magnum really shines in the hand of Arv in that scenario, being able to rotate around and play off the angles that his fellow teammates were setting up. That leads them to a 3-1 advantage going back to their not back. They have to go right to the tertiary bombs. I got confused with the order of the rounds that were won. Any thoughts on meeting hall and kitchen being selected over taking kitchen and dining?
Meeting hall and kitchen is pretty much the go-to objective. It's very rare to see a team opt for kitchen and dining. They have to have a very built-up strategy just for themselves. I maybe expect that at a Fisher. Maybe I've seen it there from them before. I don't know why I'm thinking that. But it is very difficult to go for that side. And most of the time it works once and it never works again, and you should not re-opt to bring it back out. Meeting is easier to defend. You just have to worry about rear stage. If they try to swing forward, you've got control up from hatch. They've got to clear up first. They got to clear out second. And they still have to worry about the roaming player that's likely pivoting from rear stage stairwell, aka pillar down in basement, all the way back over towards laundry, so that the pincer you're attempting to work with has a pincer of its own, constantly poking and prodding you in the back.
10 seconds remaining.
Well said. I guess I'm a little bit old-fashioned then when it comes to your site selection and trying to go for those crazy 1 in a million, or use this strat 1 in a million times, and it will hopefully work. Or possibly playing for a little bit more of an extension. It does seem that Archon is going to be going for a bit of an extension, with 2 players currently situated on the 2nd floor playing for attic as well as bedroom. Big thing that I want to see from Hennessy here is, or sorry, possibly 3, but I want to see that they are playing a lot more for the rotate back and to force Fisher to make bad decisions based on the time that they have left. That's something that they have done amazing so far, and I really want to see that continue into this round. For Fisher, I really want to see more pressure being applied and making the players Archon feel like they can no longer hold back, and that is not going to do it. It's peeking out into an unexpected angle.
But when the Lord himself says it's time, you gotta respect it. There goes Tachanka finding himself a good selection of kills. Jobu's doing well with the giant LMG in hand. No longer needing to be mounted and loaded. Oh, the glory days, like you mentioned. IMAT, though, finding a nice pickup of their own, leaving this one to a 4v2. And though Arv has been removed from this round, they found their favor just last one. They don't need to do it 2 in a row. Jobu clears at a drone being utilized by Fisher, with just Cappy and Robe left standing. What is there to do? One Osa barricade, a couple calls. Not any pocket util to work with. A single pocket EMP. The wall's been opened. You have at least that going for it. When you can't find the headshot kill into Jobu, despite him aggressing so much, you gotta worry that there just isn't enough time on the board. You are completely trapped. Player and stairwell, they gotta move in towards attic. They gotta find pressure elsewhere, but I don't think they've opened it up. I think it was cleared first and foremost. You have the ego swing for these kills. Jobu punished by Robe, rightfully so. It's about darn time, so to say. Hennessy will drop down hatch. Not sure why they do so. Maybe they can rotate up towards rear stage and take the stairwell. Robe has a chance behind sandbags to JetCon, and they've been DB&O'd. Hennessy will rotate all around. I don't think they meant to drop down hatch. They'll go up laundry stairs instead. I'm worried about the play in from attic. It has been open, but no one from Fisher have opted to take it.
Interesting here. We can see a possible plant denial, as Ace is possibly going to be attempted down below, but it's going to be a triple kill for Rope. Hennessy, to get the refrag, stuck into 1v1. When it worked Cappy, that's going to be a huge win for Cappy. Knocking on the head with the PDW on Osa. That's going to even things out for the attackers, bringing it 3-2 and a half of 3-3 now being obtainable.
Great play from Fisher. Having the ego swing for those final kills puts you in a really bad spot, but when you can trust in the players to get the job done, they do so well. Leaving up the attic play, no longer worrying about stairwell. Once they take down Jobu, that means that, hey, you can step off of stairs, you can rotate down Green Hall, take kitchen, and work from that flank. Rogue goes directly in. They DB&O JetCon, they swing in towards site. Yes, they lose to Hennessy, but then Hennessy's position, their location is pretty much known to a T. Playing from within split, playing within that link side. Just need to swing that slowly. They locked off the right. You can only come from the left. Wide swing, clear your corners, and it is a perfect play from Fisher to close out that round. Should have gone in Akron's favor. They made mistakes. Maybe it's because it's their tertiary bomb site. It's hard to tell. They're going to head to the site that's been tested the most here, the 3rd time in this half alone. And Akron have gone 1 for 1 on it. It doesn't seem like they're sticking back on their haunches after that last victory, Binks. They're changing things up. Arv is on the Malusi instead of JetCon, and JetCon is rotated back to the Finir they brought in round 1 and 2, where they lost it on this exact site using that Finir in round 2.
Yes, but we also have to remember the Finir might not have come into as much play as they would have liked, because it was a rush setup. And that does look to be what Fisher is going to be going for again, opting for the Amaru, but no Lion to be found. So it could be a little bit more of a hybrid, maybe using that Amaru to quickly get up onto the roof and break those windows that could apply that implied pressure onto Akron, which is something we saw them do in the previous round with how they were playing inside of Attic. So interesting to see if it is an aggressive play, or do they slow it down, get their picks, and time that aggression.
All right, how are you pronouncing that?
Pronouncing what?
Amaru?
Are you going to bully me for my Canadian pronunciation? I say Amaru.
It's not a real language, bro. I'm sorry to break it to you. Mickey Mouse dollars. Apparently can't say Amaru correct. That's okay. I say Kaid still like Kaid, and apparently people still say Cade. I don't get that.
No, it's Kaid.
But Amaru is absolutely Amaru.
Amaru. Always going to be Amaru. Anyways, NECC collects the opening kill, and luckily it's not going to be onto Capybara. We can still debate this Amaru for the rest of the round.
I just hope they never play it again, so I don't have to listen to that again. I think that would be the thing that I'm working with first and foremost. Akron were off the rip, a little bit down on their luck. They've gone back since then. A kill goes in favor of Fisher, and the lead calls back in Akron's favor. Mabel's trying to work in slowly. We've seen this work. We also saw JetCon lie behind couch because Mabel couldn't clear their corners. Does seem to be a swing being held very tightly for the Akron defense. They know they have that man advantage. Mara still has 3 Garo hooks to work with as well, so they could try to sneak in through a window here or there. This is not Outback. There is no longer a window at which you can sneak in quickly, but we do know for a fact. I think it's... I don't remember what map is it. Skyscraper has a window that is actually boarded up, but you can go straight there with a Garo hook, even though it's a solid wall. Something like that. Let's hope it doesn't get utilized later if that map is indeed in the pool that I'm thinking of. It's a 3v2. Akron find another kill, and Robes quick to fire back. A back and forth action-packed game. The issue is Akron had the go-ahead for a while because Fisher wasn't able to refract. Thankfully, they finally win a 1. It's Maple to deal with a shotgun wielder up close, and it leads us to the final 50 seconds in a close affair.
There's a beautiful cross angle that's set up early by Akron and not cleared and communicated by Fish, and that will lead to them being able to capitalize on their kills. Hennessy collecting the final 1 in towards Trophy. Great communication from the defenders on their final round, and they're going to need it going on to that offense to continue to play that trade game and rotate around their opponents.
Halftime switch. Akron now transition onto the attack. Totally different game plan for them. I'm expecting things to be a little bit difficult for them starting things off. It is Fisher, though, opting not to go for the standard basement side first and foremost. Opting for kids and dorms maybe gives them a chance to make mistakes early in the half and to let Akron take that 5 and then clap back after they discover maybe what Akron is bringing to the table, what kind of hot sauce they're dipping in their meal, so to say. Because Fisher want to make this an all-you-can-eat buffet. And they need to do that here for the second half. Being 2 rounds down, it's not the worst case scenario. Fairly standard when it comes down to R6. But it does make deficits quite difficult to work with. Frost in hand, though, for Gohan. Beezer's rocking that mute. The Jaeger for Cappy. Maple with, well, magnets. Is there really another way to phrase it? I hope we see some dancing as they walk, some drip walking. Either way, Rope on the board as well for the smoke. I have to question where Akron decided to push here. We saw a big window come from Fisher in 1 attempt. It worked. And then past that, every attempt failed because they took an Arsenal through big window. They took a master bedroom through big window, but it never felt like they had solid pressure inside Attic. Because when they did it, they only brought 1 person and they died because they had no one to contest for a refrag in Attic towards drop. I think Akron need to double up on that side to actually bring full force inside Big Tower.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I think of course we have the optimal route, but if I were to put myself in the shoes of Akron and look towards the type of push they're going for, having Zofia and Capitao going against Wamai and Jaeger, I can see them easily being responsible for the utility clear in through Attic going towards site. You also have the Ash with their breaching rounds. That can be your soft breach over towards the west, and that's exactly what towards the south. And that's what I want to see. Double window, make your opponents as uncomfortable as possible. These are experienced players. You open up a wall, they're constantly have it in the back of their mind, and that's going to just, I talked about it earlier, and I think it's not emphasized enough, the implied pressure where for defenders to not know where the attackers are coming from is so absolutely pivotal to why we saw Nook banned, and that's going to be IMAT collecting onto the first frag, and they've spotted out Gohan playing inside of Big Tower. This is going to be the biggest time clear on how well they cleared out, and they have 2 of the best operators in the game to do it.
Akron can just bide their time when it comes to working in on Big Tower. That player watching in on second floor, the player breaking pressure in towards top. It's a short-lived success for Fisher for that extension. On top of that, they don't even have to worry about their extension anymore. That's 3 players off the board. This is a horrible affair for the Fisher College side. They need to make adjustments and quickly. 2 players left. Yeah, manageable for a 2v3. We saw it before. It's not so manageable when there's full 5 left for Akron, and they have had no problems making it into the building. Maple doesn't know. They've sent 2. Akron do exactly what I said. A refrag available in Big Tower, and it leaves them for a kill for the go-ahead, and a final one easily made for JetCon onto Robe. That is a round for the Zips that had no problem with. This is the map where good teams go to die, and the Zips are thriving where some teams struggle. Fisher have not had an answer for the past few rounds.
I want to go back and actually examine just their ability to push up. They are always working in 2s and always 3 seconds apart. They are always able to push together. That's great communication that we saw from Akron. And I want to see that continue, especially as we go to Laundry, because this is a site where you can start to see a little bit more of that variation, a little bit more of a spread out as someone's holding the hatch, someone's holding the stairs. It's massively going to come down to how well they're able to pressure their opponents. And I want to see, based off, and I know this is a very early prediction, Scott, and you can go and rip me to shreds for making it before,
I will.
but I know you will. You're very good at that. I want to see more of a blue bunker emphasize, and hear me out. I want to see a big emphasis on Freezer. I think that would.
I don't think that's a hot take whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think that's a hot take whatsoever.
That relieves me. That relieves me a little bit.
Old school pressure is 2 inside Freezer, sometimes 3 depending on the team composition, 1 to 2 inside Laundry. If you start to meet a little bit too much trouble, you maybe pivot 1 player over towards Pillar, aka on rear stage, and you kind of clear out the player that could be in main hall. If you can get down there, it gives you a chance to get a free effort in through Freezer. The issue was, like I mentioned before, for Akron on their defense, they had Finra. They placed one of the gadgets inside Freezer towards door, leading in towards main hall. That would slow down an attack for Fisher. The Fisher have not opted on their defense to lock in for the Finra. Because of that, they only really have to keep a barricades to lock things down. They're going to place that shield a little bit more smartly when it comes to holding in towards probably Laundry, or maybe in just towards B-side itself. Maybe towards Pillar, likely inside just main hall. I think that's just the expected result from them. Akron have so much utility to burn that though. For Taro Jones, like Fisher had previously, they can use that to get over here towards elbow. The issue is great use of the drone sight deniers. Nowhere to go. What are you supposed to do? You can't see anything. How close are you to the shield? You just pray you can jump straight through and detonate in time. But even then, it seems the distance may be a little bit too far. And it's going to force Hennessy to throw it an 8, and there could be an ADS around the corner. I think they got it, but they're taking a lot of damage from the Toxic Babes. That's not going to matter. Akron get the go-ahead. They've heard the whistle. The Zips are flying into the site. Oh, Robe, all by their lonesome, swings for 1, dealing damage to Zobu, but they've got nothing left to work with. It is almost a flawless round from the Zips, who are wanting to end this here and now.
Just their ability to understand the information and just spring the trap of sorts. Not what I was expecting to see on the round, but a very welcome surprise. And it moves us on to our match point for the first map. And I want to remind everyone, Akron is going to be the 2nd seed going into this. And if I do remember correctly, this is Fisher's map pick. I could be mistaken. Okay, yeah, I do. Yes, I have that correct. This is Fisher's map pick. So 6-2 is very much not what they're looking to be, and they're able to go right up to 2nd floor Kid Storms. But that's the aggression that we're expecting to see on a 2nd floor Kid Storms, where you have a whole bunch of different windows, a whole bunch of different routes to get to site. Downstairs you have the 3, and I don't think enough emphasis was put onto holding down a cross angle from by Pillar and Big Tower stairs. Had more emphasis been put on that, that trap would not have been able to have been sprung. You would have had more pressure besides that toxic barricade.
I think a lot of it for Fisher was maybe putting a little bit too trust in the fact that Akron were going to take control over there towards Tarp, and maybe that they were going to lie back and wait once the Toxic Babe was going. It was a kind of a miscalculation for timing, the phrase that I would say for it. They sent out the toxic babe. They think Akron's going to stay back. They had already swung, so why would you sit back and wait? You're just going to swing farther into tarp. You're just going to take that space. That gives you a kill to the player lying inside B side. Where you're going to go from there? Well, just farther, and the team gets the go ahead. They swing in quickly down pillar. They only had one player there. There's not enough pressure from Fisher in the face of Akron. They have to be a respected team, and you've got to make sure they work for that control, and there just didn't seem like there was enough effort there. They're working for scholarships here. Both these two teams, I believe, are at this point. They're hugely accoladed colleges. Fisher has had a huge surge in terms of their, I would say, esport development program. Akron's been kind of at the top for a while because of COD and things like that. A little unlucky there from Jobu, either way. It is match point for Akron, and they are still going to be riding high that last round. And they're heading back up to the second floor. They'd made quick work of it previously, but it doesn't seem like they'll repeat the same age-old strategy. They're putting a lot of pressure this time, mostly towards big window, aka towards master bedroom. Maybe they'll swing 2 into tower again, because we do see that IMAT and Hennessy are here.
Oh, I see this. I see this. They're playing for the rotate right now. They just say it's just the simple pinch and push. You have the Glaz of Arv playing right outside. And if I read this right, that they're the coach, they're just waiting for the rotate. They're waiting to call to their team. And that opening kill from JetCon could be the exact push that they're looking for. These are getting lit up. JetCon collecting onto one. These are able to refrag onto Arv. That is going to be your Glaz and the main anchor that you are looking to have. Maple Leaf also stuck on the rotate. This means that every single player on the side of Fisher is going to be stuck out of position, not knowing where to look.
Rubs in a tight spot, trapped behind the B-bomb chassis. It's relying on the util tossed from Gohan to find the kill. Shockingly enough, a Thorn util finding a frag is something you don't see very often. Very situational. When it works, it will work. Hennessy's in a spot where maybe they could set up the team to go for a plant here, this diffuser, but the lunchbox has not yet been pulled out as JetCon is isolated over towards Trophy, with IMAT having just recently met them up. They know what players inside Arsenal, and they clear them out very quickly. Hennessy in a 1v1 gets aggressive and makes the player Beezer pay the price. You gotta find that kill rope. What are you doing? And Akron will steal that round. I mean, to be fair, it's their just desserts. They knew what they were doing, but that was ridiculous, Rope. The Zips find themselves a 7-2 rout on map 1 of Oregon. And we'll have to see if Chalet changes anything on the game plan, because this was not it from the Fisher College side.
Yeah, just their ability to constantly force their opponents to move right across the map, have to force a rotate, and their utility usage on defense, it didn't feel comfortable. It didn't feel like, it felt like it was being used too much as a crutch. And we've seen a very gun heavy meta inside of Rainbow Six, and we saw, as you mentioned earlier, just playing for a bit more of those aggressive swings, and that's exactly what we saw Akron continuing to do throughout the round. And I think that started all the way back when they had to start playing without their util. It's late in the round and they're playing for frags. One thing that I do want to see from Fisher, though, that I've had noted in multiple one of my rounds, is I wouldn't be afraid to see a 2-man extension. I think that would be great, because it would distract Akron enough where they would want to deploy as much utility as possible, and they've been very prompt of meeting timelines within their round. But that's just something I've been noticing.
I think Fisher are a little bit too scared to offer the extension. When every time they have extended, like they did extend 2 players in their first attempt at defense, it got removed pretty much instantly. There was no pressure left. To be fair, their extensions were placed poorly. Too far wide, no control for the retreat. No to the defense for Akron when they had an extending player like over towards Kitchen when they were defending that other side, and they put up a Cuba barricade to lock that side out. They're an extended player safely still close to point into the teammates. If you're extended up in a big tower, extended over an Arsenal, and the space in between's been entirely taken, you're not extending, you're playing to die. You got to pray that you get a frag out before you can, and Akron is a team that's not going to let that happen 9 times out of 10, like we saw in that last round when it came to your Arsenal player extending backwards. It's just not going to happen. Either way, we're going to take a break between map 1 and map 2 with the Zips continue the dominant spree and take Chalet just as quickly, or Fisher College finally show us what they're made of. We'll see after this quick little break.
I need a scarecrow after what you did, 'cause all of the birds know that I'm almost dead. I'm barely breathing, I'm barely awake. You left me in pieces, there's no more century. Don't wake me up, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips. 'Cause you're just a ghost inside my head. I need an angel after what you did, 'cause you were the devil, you messed with my head. You lied to my mother, you lied to my friends. You said that you'd be there, but this never ends. Don't wake me up, not in this century. Don't wake me up, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips. 'Cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost. You're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. 'Cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips. You're just a ghost inside my head. Oh, you're just a ghost inside my head.
I need a second to take a breath, to keep me guessing with what you said. You're in my head. We're under pressure, we're sinking deep like stormy weather. Can't seem to breathe when you're with me. If you're gonna break me, I know I won't stay. I don't wanna wait here, you push me away. If you're gonna choose, you don't know what to do. I don't wanna lose you, but don't wanna lose me too.
I would call it a 7-2 upset, but the most upsetting thing was just Fisher College's performance in that one. Map 2's got to change. Something's got to be new, and Fisher College have what it takes. They just got to show up and show out, and that just was not the case on map 1. Chalet on the chopping block next year. Binks, my favorite map in all of R6, and here's hoping Fisher makes this one a close one.
Yeah, I think based on the patterns of the teams that we saw inside of the first round, it should be a different story. And I think this might, although this is Akron's map pick, Fisher does have a few things going for them. For example, it's a lot harder inside of Chalet to play with just a quick snap your fingers and aggression. And it's a lot easier to go back and focus on your utility play to give you that extra edge in the gunfights. And what I mean by that is as we look towards, for example, Piano Door, we can see that Fisher is now able to deploy a lot more utility, create these big major choke points that Akron is not going to be able to just burst their way through, be able to use information and just explode on the site. And I know it wasn't an explosion every single site, but it certainly felt like Akron was just able to maneuver around the map a little too easily.
Akron did have a lot of mobility. I think it was also attributed to the fact that when they got the go-ahead, they took advantage of it quickly, right? A lot of the times you hear a 3, 2, 1 countdown, a breakdown of util. So you toss out these nades, fall up immediately behind it. We do a countdown and we all go in. Fisher, they fell victim to that, but in an unexpected way. Akron didn't even seem like they needed a tally. They didn't even need to start the clock. You didn't have to hear the gun go off in the background to, ring out and sing, hey guys, let's swing into sight and take control of this situation. Akron just did, and that's a huge factor for their success. Fisher will start off on the defense side they had no luck on previously on our map of Oregon. Chalet is a different beast though, so we'll have to see how this one pans out. I'm not surprised that Fisher would opt to ban out the floor, as it was kind of nuisance in the first map. And they didn't make great use of it personally. So why is no, just get rid of it, not have to worry about it any further. The Yang being taken off, Akron really do not want to let Fisher opt in for the Yang. I do not blame them. Once again, the defensive bans are likely fall the same way as map 1. Maybe you go for Solus instead here, but Zombie has also been banned for a lot of teams. The Mirror and Valkyrie, like previously mentioned. You don't want to have to deal with the Mirror barricade placed over towards Office. But Wamaya is also one that is kind of nichey, but works very well because you no longer have to worry about the Magnetsman attempting to take control of Ego Window in Library Hall.
Yeah, I'm interested by the Wamai pick, and I think the Valkyrie does have a chance to slip away, but nope, there's going to be the information gone, but that means Amira as well as Zombie will both be able to stick on the board. It's interesting to see a lot of this throwable utility gone and dispersed by, Ying and their direct counter of Wamai, but we also saw Capitao in the very first map, and I'm interested to see if that trend is going to continue now that his bolts are not able to be caught by any single device.
Still have ADSs. There's not
Capitao's bolts. Capitao bolts.
For general utility.
Oh, general. Yes.
Capitao is not heavily used for that hallway. Capitao is also just not heavily used in general. It really depends on the map. I think Clubhouse is like the only map that I'm like, yeah. It's not really the.
I feel like I keep saying I'm old fashioned, but I love the Capitao pick, and I feel like a lot of sites can be adapted if you do play around using those smokes. He's the only person that can create crazy, if you set your smokes up properly, a one-way smoke, because it does not fall, and I might be a little bit of a missed opportunity with playing him.
I think R6 players are too scared to attempt to make one-ways because then their game would be too much like Valorant.
I know. I think...
And there is no one who hates Valorant more than a player who plays a dead game. AKR6. I say it's a dead game, but I'm addicted as well. Nothing's gonna change that fact, right? It technically is still one of the most played esports out there, but you gotta compare it to the giants in the field. You're never gonna have a chance. Cough CS2 coming out and the whole world's going to explode. Even Valorant's going to feel the pain of losing multiple pro players who openly said they will be returning when that game releases. Oh my goodness. Either way though, Akron on the attack, 30 seconds, have ellipsed and they have not yet found themselves a kill. None too shocking. They're playing a little bit slow over style. Arv's rocking the glass, which could give them a sight line to work with. We saw them attempt to do that through balcony window, and we saw them attempt to do that through main door. The issue is they've got to find a safe way into library, and they have to deal with the hatch player, and they had to deal with the player sitting inside corner. They thought they were safe, tucked away, flashing that first man, but the hatch player down below towards stock, and another one sitting out on mezzanine could become a problem child as well if Akron don't start to clear that out first. They're going to take this a lot slower from this point on.
It does look like Capitao was selected. Just want to make that Nice little point that I feel recognized. So thank you, Hennessy. But more on this push, it doesn't seem very likely. You could rotate the Capitao and play for a Bolt to make their way into Library, but that's not good util usage. That's not the position that Hennessy is supposed to be in. You're gonna have to try to collect a frag from a different angle, but Gohan as well as Beezer are gonna collect both of their frags respectively on the round, as it's going to be a flawless round for the defenders of Fisher. And you looked for an answer, Scott, and I think you just found it.
It is round 1. It's a way to set a tempo. It's a way to set the tone for the rest of this series. Chalet is a very difficult map, though, for a lot of attacking teams. Statistically, it is the attacker-favored map, but when you actually look at the competitive scene, it tends to fall in a bit more towards the defense, which is shocking. Considering a lot of maps are falling into the attack for the competitive scene, as it seems like all the nerfs and things of plenty for the util the defense has finally caught up to them in the end. Thankfully for the Akron side, they don't have to see that objective again. I don't think they even saw it once. Let's be totally frank with them. Instead, Fisher now going to opt to go towards kitchen and dining. To be frank, this one is still just as difficult. You have to deal with mezzanine presence. They're likely still to extend over towards library. And that Ivy Hall is a pain to deal with. It's essentially Fisher going to extend up to the second floor like usual. Except now they'll need to put more players off to the north side because of obviously the objectives over here to the east. And they'll have to actually watch out for the Solarium side here. Thank you, Observer, for showing that perfectly, where those windows are likely to be utilized, as well as highway over there to the side of master bedroom and piano window. Sorry, master bathroom and piano window could also be a concern. But we saw glass. Maybe Akron move in towards big window and master bedroom. I would expect your sled to do it instead if they did that. Or the Osa could do it as well. Hennessy could place the shield inside.
Oh.
I hope the Blackbeard does not get played. This makes much more sense. Especially when they have to deal with Thorn, Meatball Camps, Surya Gates, which can now finally be hacked. Finrir Util. Makes much more sense for the clutch drone.
Yeah. Interesting to see how much utility is going to be grabbed before it's dispersed up. And I want to see, are they going to play drone before the clutch drone, or how exactly they are going to make way for this devious utility. Jetcon taking some early damage, and that won't bode well, as we're seeing a gunfight in the exact same position as the entire round, I guess you could say, went down inside a second floor library. Going differently this time, as the drone game is looking to be a lot stronger, but then again, the presence on the side is a lot less dominant, as the players on Fisher are looking to play a lot slower. Yeah, I'm not too a little bit concerned there. I'm not too sure what the clutch drone is doing, being used so early on rather than having one of your other support players drone you in. It's very slow for Akron, and the puzzle pieces are still being set in place.
Well, whether or not the puzzle piece turns out to be something that's sold from, Fisher Price at, I don't know, $2.99 in a bookstore, or that turns out to be a 1,000 piece, all same uniform color puzzle that you have to go purely off the shapes and sizes that are all also different, time will tell. Fisher did a great job in round 1 to make things very simple for Akron. Simple in the fact that, hey, just run into us, we're going to kill you. It's as simple as that. Akron, though, I'm playing a lot slower in this round. I think that's the right idea. They had themselves first blood. It's fallen apart a little bit since then. Hennessy gets plopped off at very long range, all the way over from that master bedroom side. But that's given them some space inside Fireplace Hall to open up that dining wall with an exothermic charge. Now Jobu out of those, but that gives Akron the space to work elsewhere and flank in quickly and keep their players alive, which Arv is very lucky to have that still be the case.
A lot of angles being open, not too much vertical presence, but that doesn't really seem to be playing too much of a factor, as Gohan does have the flank at the ready, and this could be absolutely huge should they be able to get in the right position. There's a second one on the round, looking for a third, spraying with that DMR, not able to find it, but the presence made, 30 seconds to go. It all comes down to, can you clear out the roamer or take sight?
Time's not on their side. They're quickly running out, 20 seconds left. Fisher, yes, they're in a man disadvantage, but Akron don't have the safe space to work into this contested zone. They'll have to throw out some smoke canisters. It works for one. R finding the pickup, refrag back by Cappy. Jetcon has to keep their teammate alive. Jobu planting inside corner, tucked over towards kitchen. A dangerous play and a swing by Cappy, and Jetcon's quick to find it back, and they had to. Time was not on their side. Your teammate falls, you have to refrag fast, and it works out. The Zips will fire back, finding themselves a tied game now, 1-1.
Very close round, not like the first one whatsoever. And it came down to those trades. I really like the second floor presence from the side of Fisher. And I'm not saying it's the wrong call to start swinging. You're trying to collect onto that frag. I'm just saying staying alive there is going to do a lot more. Even if you're not swinging the angle, firing tracer rounds that look like it's ready, like you're getting ready to push, you have that extra ammo to spray. You want to play with your enemy's mental as much. The gunfight there was not as needed, and had the gunfight not been taken, all the players on the side of Fisher would have been able to play a little bit more comfortable, especially when that plane is going down. That angle being held would not have been the case. They would have been having to watch towards fireplace and look back. Completely different round. But alas, that's not to say swinging was not the right call, as it just did not pan out.
I think swinging was the right idea.
It is. Yeah, I'm just a player that's not confident in gun skill. My own personal gun skill.
I don't think it's even a gun skill factor. I think the timing was like 0.1 second off.
Yeah.
If they swing that there half a second later, the question is about whether or not Akron would have gotten the diffuser down or not. If the diffuser still would not have gone down and they would have gotten the kill, it's likely that Akron would have lost the round because there was that little time left ticking. They took their gamble. The gamble was a bit too quick. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. If they had swung that a little bit closer towards green wall, towards plants, I think there would have been a higher likelihood that Akron would not have gotten that kill so quickly. The refrag would not have gone through as fast. And because of that, it maybe would have given Fisher the round win. Either way, we're poking at straws here.
We are great at theory crafting.
We're nitpicking, and to be frank, we're now comparing Akron's close victory against Fisher's dominant victory in round one. Still is Fisher's game to lose. We can even argue that this one's a 2-0 route. If it continues to go like this, Fisher has been at the precipice. Who's to say it cannot continue? Floorboards being utilized. Johan, you cannot keep standing there. Trying to use that for yourself. Unfortunately, Akron using it just a little bit better. Arv doing a wonderful job there. They tossed as well, sending that over the door frame, leading over towards the master bedroom side. Nobody is there, as it just seemed Gohan has said, hey, I don't like this whatsoever. I'm going to get the heck out of Dodge.
Right call. You just want to play for the gunfight at that point. Arv to actually be able to collect onto the opening kill. That's going to take out Robe. He's playing on the mute. They're relegated to the cams for the rest of the round. I like that Beezer is playing down below. This could make for a great flank late round, but it's a question. Akron's done a great job of hearing the way onto a site when an opportunity presents itself, and if they notice that opportunity, I'm afraid Beezer's flank might be too little, too late.
Player sitting behind the shield inside closet. Great play from Akron. Mind that to find the pickup onto Gohan. They were already 1 HP. Didn't take too much to get the job done. They'll find it nonetheless. Maple with a fryer back. Took it a second. Required IMAP to swing egregiously, and they'll pay the price off the rip of it. Maple using the fin rear. Not really working with any of the util in hand. No stink gas to work with. They'll try to retreat down elbow staircase towards trophy, and unfortunately, they had DBNO'd in the process, leading to us to an effective 4-on-2, but I don't think Maple is impossible to revive. It just would have required it to be instantaneous, and the nade sent by Akron previously zoned it enough to make it impossible. Close out once again, the DBNO'd state player, and now Beezer followed through by JetCon. Just Capybara left standing. What is she capable of? We've seen her come up big on the last map for one of the 2 victories Fisher was able to gain for themselves. Well, this is a 4v1. Flanking player comes in. JetCon tries to make the same drop we saw come out from Maple. This one falls short just about as quickly as that one. And Arv, who had a great start, hanging the side there of Gohan, who had to retreat as quick as can be from Solarium. That floorboard as we highlighted at the beginning of the round. You get the final kill. Arv with a big round, much needed as the sub there for Akron. And Akron climbed to 2-1.
I want to go and address the heavy extension made by Fisher in that round. It almost paid dividends, but it really didn't mesh well with Akron's directness towards it. They weren't afraid to take those gunfights, and they very much were not afraid to constantly hold crutch angles. The very first thing we see in that round, well, it might have seemed, oh, it's just an initial gunfight. Opening up that trophy window on first floor, I believe it changed the entire course of that round by being able to get all that damage onto Gohan and switch to the dock. Now they don't get stuck in that situation again. it forced a lot of players to feel a lot of pressure, added pressure, playing inside a trophy of not knowing if there's someone out that window, or constantly having that fear in the back of their mind where that rotate is no longer safe space. And I love that from Akron as they continue to press with every single round. Fisher just needs to make sure that they are taking parts of the map and making sure that they say, this is ours. We know exactly how we're going to hold it. And that's starting to happen. We saw that in the very first round, and now it's just a question that's returning to that first round bomb site. Will it be repeated?
Round for Akron on the attack. They're going to retake an objective they've failed on before. We've said this on map 1. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Fisher. They changed things. They thought it was broke, despite the flawless nature. Gohan on the dock. I believe we saw this from NECC on our map 1 from Akron, where they changed things up on their second floor hold. But overall, I think Akron will have it a little bit easier in terms of utility exchanges to deal with this lineup than they had previously, because now they know Hatch is likely to be watching him from Stockholm. Player sitting inside corner. They burn away the Surya gate, then get something over the top, and the dock is a little bit easier to clear out. Problem is, dock has stims. They don't clear them out initially. You still got to be concerned about the aftermath of them staying there and stimming up. That's also why Thunderbird was heavily used in that angle before. Though that utility would also get destroyed simultaneously as the damage would be dealt to the player. Why dock is a lot better in that spot. But it is still Akron falling short right off the rip. Gohan taking down Arv, avenging the early damage and eventual kill that came forward in that last round. No Ayana left on the board, and now no more Habana as Beezer takes down Jobu, and it is a 3 versus 5 with Akron, letting things slip out from through their fingertips.
I'm at with a quick refrag. Jekon has a great flank, but look to the left. They're spotted on that just bulletproof cam. That could change the entire weight of this round, as you can get an idea of what sort of narrative Akron is going for. This all comes down to, will Fisher make the first move, or will Akron get stuck pushing an angle they are not comfortable, or they have not cleared out enough? In a fight of aggro versus protection, which one wins out?
Akron still have managed to keep themselves alive for the time being. Climb up the ladder. Metal Gear style. Sure, we'll hear Snake Eater in the background, though this ladder obviously nowhere near as long. Cabby's lying inside mezzanine, has an angle of dominance to work from, but IMAT just does not respect it. Taking down the player despite having to drop on them instead. JetCon removed by Gohan. Had a good round so far here. Clearing out the Surya gate initially, not going to worry about it and go around and get a hammer for a reason. 20 seconds left. Robe watching the hatch. Sitting inside stock. This could be a double drop angle. They could have one player just hold this one to work from. Have a second one drop at the same fell swoop, and that will be the case. They'll go to the outside window and work in through that billiards one instead. They'll go for the plant here. You can't deny this. You have the time. It's not going to work. It is a round done and dusted, as Fisher will find themselves successful in round 4 to tie things back up to 2. Same margin in which they met on map 1. Can they continue with that here, Banks?
That's a real question, because we're starting to see a little bit of, I don't want to call it slippage. That round was very, very strong starting out, and it was just Akron using the relevant information. I love the push from IMAT up above. They was very much, if I don't push this, this round is over, and you can see that they were fighting like there was no tomorrow. That is what could have changed the round, and that could easily be the atmosphere and intention that could change the course of this entire map or series. And with that being said, that's something that can be implied by Fisher as well as we go down to the basement. I want to see that they are not afraid to take those aggressive peaks. And I know that this would sound like I'm completely contradicting what I'm saying with don't go for the swing, where that was my argument earlier on around round 2. But I am a firm believer that if you are setting yourself up in a way that the cross angles can be set up downstairs, where you can challenge one angle and just swing the other. The way that Akron is playing, they have 2 players in every single position, meaning that if you swing, you're going to see one and potentially get away with that, or play for that trade in which their utility, which they've been using very sparingly and very calculated, could potentially go to waste.
Which one's your favorite song there, Binks?
Pardon?
Which one's your favorite song?
What do you mean, which one's my favorite song?
Oh, you said you were a believer earlier, so I was just...
If this is a Canadian reference, I don't even know what to say.
I mean,
to
he
that
is
one.
Canadian, if that makes any difference. Though I think a lot of Canadian people try to ignore that. That is Imagine... No time. Not in the background. Y'all can't hear that. Imagine Dragons is not Justin Bieber. Like I was making a reference to, because it sounded like Bing said belieber. Which is I think the fan name for Justin Bieber fans.
Does he still release music?
Yeah, I'm sure. Sure. Taylor Swift does. Why wouldn't he?
I don't know.
It's terrible. It's all right. It's whatever.
I mean, I feel like Justin Bieber's just in a more positive headspace.
Sure. Doesn't mean you can't release music.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But like, I feel like there's always a time for breakup music. Because you can always release.
There's
breakup
there's never a time to break when every song you release makes you like $300 million guaranteed. Glass comes out in full force. Arv rips down Beezer. It does a 5v4 already. Gohan forced to fire back, avenging once again the performance in 2 rounds prior. Sets up a 4-on-4. Akron punished for the very aggressive play right off the beginning. NECC has maybe a chance to swing over towards Gohan, but with that breach, things are a little bit too dangerous to do so. Cappy all the way over towards Trophy. Caught out and finally dealt with. That extension you've highlighted multiple times. An interesting attempt right there from Maple. Extremely close call. The extension we called out a multiple times, though. Fisher is just falling short on it. And that's Akron's specialties. Getting that information with the drone game and using that to capitulate the point even further. Osa shield up in the front. Nothing you can do about it. Turn sideways and Hennessy will meet you at the gates. And the Zips will find themselves the go-ahead round to go 3-2. The Fisher now have to say, hey, we can still tie things up here.
No, just got to take it and just baby, rope it back and play with what you can.
That was forced.
It had to be forced. I need to make sure we have no more
You don't know any other Justin
that.
Bieber songs, right? You could have.
I was stuck here writing down.
Not even a real believer.
Of course I'm not. I'm Canadian.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
Yes, but we forget that a lot of the time.
Yeah.
If you asked for me for like a tragically hip song, I could do that, which you probably don't know because that's very Canadian. If anyone in the chat knows tragically hip,
yeah, I was in Canada this year. I was there.
Congratulations.
First time out of country.
Well, that's awesome. What'd you think? Was it cold?
Oh, it's awful. Terrible experience. It was freezing. They locked us out of the venue for like 2 hours, and we were the first people waiting.
Well, that's because you came in the winter. Right now it's very
warm.
It's
I was
warm and
in the winter, so.
Can we get a summer Canadian R6 event where you guys can see? Oh my
they're
goodness,
not doing any more Canadian
They
R6
don't live in.
events.
I know.
SI's in Brazil this year or next year.
Yes, but like, we could have a summer one, maybe Toronto.
No, if they're gonna do summer, just bring it down to somewhere like Florida or something. Just make where it's like you go from 2 extreme opposites. Freezing cold to boiling heat. You see, like the UK is complaining right now because it's like 80 degrees out.
I don't know what that means. The UK doesn't even use 80 degrees.
No, I 30 Celsius. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, you're speaking English.
It's not hot whatsoever. 80 degrees is not hot. Where I am, it's typically 80 degrees at night when it's supposed to be cooler. But the UK is mildly complaining. Meanwhile, we have to deal with like 107 if you're in Florida. And like where I am, it's like 101 on some summer days.
Oh,
it can get even worse. There's like a heat wave.
We are in Chalet, and it does appear
it's cold
that
here.
Akron is continuing to bring the heat and possibly defrosting the entire map of Chalet as this continued applied pressure, making Maple Leaf feel like even though that Maple Leaf might be Canadian, they need to warm up a little bit into continuing to play and aggressively take the map, which
Making
has
a lot of
not happened
assumptions
so
about me.
far. I am making, I hope they're Canadian with a name like Maple Leaf. Maybe they're from Toronto. But I want to see how they play.
Toronto.
Everyone wants to go to Toronto.
They gave a gross miscalculation of who everyone is. Either way, producer in the background of our ears saying exactly what I was thinking. No, they don't. Big window control. This is something I said could be something that Akron would like to opt in because they did bring that glass in round 1. This to be Arv will continue to wield out over there by tower. It's a great cutoff angle if you do a well job for the Akron side of closing out Solarium, clearing out stairwell, making sure nobody can rotate from master bedroom. They try to pivot away from closet where the shield they had previously was. Then you put yourself in a spot where your glass hanging out on tower can find a kill to close things out. Issue arises elsewhere. Off screen, Hennessy had placed a claymore and not Oh, where's that extension from Fisher? It's gone. Gohan caught off, and that's an unfortunate way to go about it. Cappy taking a quick bath. It's a fancy bathtub, to say the least, and it does seem like Beezer will go ahead and join them in the bathroom itself. Cappy does get DBNO'd, though, in the hot tub and still gets DBNO'd. What a name toss.
Explosive finish to this round as Build is looking to collect onto it, but JetCon, huge swing, going to collect onto his second one as the down not out player has been finished off. Window Repel becoming increasingly of a risky position as you have too many eyes looking towards you. But no, you have your friendlies looking to push in. Rope has to take out the window as fast as possible. Joba going for the plant, and there is a great round. IMAC collects onto it, and Arv with the final kill on the glass, rushing up for the flank. Interested to see this angle, and oh, I think that's a quick scope. And I think you mentioned Call of Duty earlier.
I most likely did
Call of
not.
Duty worthy. You did mention Call of Duty. It was in relation to
Valorant.
No, you mentioned Akron as well. They got their head.
Oh yes, technically yes. Okay, yeah.
Deep cut. It's a deep cut.
Single word, and you latched onto that one heavily. Yes, Akron was known for Call of Duty for a while. I do not know if that's the case anymore.
It's the coach, which coach has a bigger relation to the organization. Thank you. Deep cut.
Mostly Northwood now, who is known for COD, still known for COD, and now known for Valorant. You want to highlight more, esport teams that have interesting histories across esport. Well-fellowed group, the Fisher College side is. Talked with their director multiple times. Great guy. Fun to hang out with. Willing to do a lot to get that program on the way, which is why I said Fisher's done a wonderful job of getting their program off the foot and just being one of the better colleges out there to take that next step for collegiate esports, which is important, all things considered, that while esports dies elsewhere because it's a non-profitable scene, to be frank, and orgs everywhere cutting their prices and things of the sort. Collegiate scenes, well, you're fun. Everyone's going to college. You all have phones, right? That scene. You all go to college anyways. Why not fund the esports scene at the same time? It's going to draw people in very quickly. And that's why the NECC is here as well. We like running this. We like letting players do what they do best. And we like giving them the support they can. And these players here are about to get a lot of support here with the prize pool that comes at the end of this. But they have to win it. The 70-30 split, if it's the same exact split it is for Valorant just yesterday, which means if Akron continue to take this, take map 2 and take map 3, they'll have a 3-0 round in a 5-map series, and they'll get 70% of that big old prize pool. And Fisher left with a, still, they get something, but it's a lonesome 30%.
Yeah. It really gives you the motivation to go right towards that win, and great use of the Jackal from Maple Leaf as it's Fisher's first round on attack. And this just seems like sensory overload, where you have the Dokkaebi in combination with Jackal in combination with Fuse, Thatcher, Thermite. It doesn't feel like standing still is going to be an option for the defenders of Akron. But it doesn't matter! JetCon with 2 huge headshots is going to open the round in a dominant fashion.
Beautiful shot from JetCon, making full use of the Malusi. You're going to bring out Malusi. You're going to make sure well that you're going to find success with that gun. The MPX also a solid one as well. That's the only reason why Valkyrie was so banned so heavily for a very long time. Not just because of the information, but the weapon was really annoying to deal with. Speaking of weapons that are annoying to deal with, pretty much everyone on the side of Akron has a really annoying weapon. The Vector having to deal with the P90, which yes, shoots Ps, but my goodness, when 51 BB pellets get sent past your way and it takes 1 to hit the head to kill, yeah, you're going to take as many shots as you possibly can. Hennessy with the 9mm does a huge lick of damage. In fact, it even finds a kill there into Cappy, putting a 5 versus 2 now into the lap of Fisher, who they start off this game with a flawless round, get flawless back in return just last round, and now if Akron continue this pace, could have the exact same story unfold. This is just Beezer and Gohan left. Beezer finding an angle through Hatch inside Dining does deal with Hennessy denying that flawless potential. But that Hatch that was left inside Trophy, you know that a player dropped in there. You had them on the ropes, but they knew what they were doing. They had the escape route and they fell back to site successfully, which is something that Fisher were incapable of doing in that first half.
Long hallway. I'm at not spotted out. Captures 1 and 2. You called it with the pea shooter. Just finding that head in a very quick fashion. We see the defenders reign supreme on this round. Great move by Akron as they narrow the gap to 1. Or sorry, they increase the gap to 3. as they look to be winning out their own personal map pick. I want to emphasize that point that they won Oregon map 1, which was the map pick of Fisher. And it's starting to shine through again, where as the half comes around, Akron look increasingly more dominant, like they figured out their opponent.
Keep this in mind for Akron. It is their map pick, but the collegiate special dictates that you typically take your opponent's map pick, and it works the other way around. I hate that. It's the most annoying part of the collegiate scene. When you do a lot of collegiate casting, you see it a lot. It's just one of those things that's going to happen. Jets and operators when Valorant. Ashes in the R4C and R6, so obviously has fallen off in a while. Or Ashes matrix dodging every bullet if you're an old school R6 player, and it felt like Ash had the world's tiniest hitbox. I know that's not as big of a concern recently. Hitboxes have been pretty much closed in completely, as well as the fact that Ash is just not as highly played, unless your name is Inky, in which case you can do very good on that Ash. But that is a amateur scene. We'll talk about that later. Akron up, like you said, a 3-round buffer. Looked very good here on the defense, but now they're heading over to a site that could be a problem for them. Office in master bedroom is typically the least favorited objective for this map. It was heavily picked for a long time, but the glaring weaknesses for this objective make it, well, glaringly bad. Big window that completely steps out and denies master bedroom. Big problem, can't rotate. That Z hall, or T hall, I would say, and your attempt to rotate from master bedroom to bedroom to bathroom towards office. A lot of rotates you have to work from, and you can't extend as safely as you would like. And so Akron know that. They're going to go ahead and extend for a spawn peak right off the rip, where I'm at. It's not going to work out, but 8 and 5 now. Still doing well, but that is a first blood and a Garu hook into bedroom with diffuser and everything. You got to deal with the bees. You got to deal with the toxic babes. The toxic babe takes you down cleanly, and you can't get away with the goo mine there as well. And Akron just clean up house. 3 kills to JetCon. Drop into trophy. A trade, but not good enough. The Zips now reach match point.
Wow. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit taken back by that round, Scott, and I think the fumes of that toxic canister are getting to my head, as they clearly have for Fisher as well, because if you look at the way they played in the past, yes, that could work onto a site like, let's say, second floor master bedroom on the side of Oregon. It works there because you have a lot of quick routes for your team to take with you. I'm sorry, you don't have any support from your team. Solarium had no control. Piano had no pressure. All the players on the side of Akron are ready to turn their attention towards you. And that is a beautiful smoke canister. You don't even have to address the angle. I'm a little bit taken back, but I'm going to go and praise Akron for that round and their ability to quickly adapt and to communicate and keep calm within the chaos. And that massively comes down to JetCon with a huge performance on the Frost last round.
You got to keep up that level of performance, though. Yes, you do have a 4-round buffer. That is still 4 rounds, which Fisher is capable of coming back from. First 2 maps have not been so hot for them. If this went in 7-2 just the same as the first, then you can only imagine how the third will go down as well. And we can keep in mind, third map is very different in comparison to Oregon or Chalet. It's Cafe. Very wide, 3 floors, lots of, I would say, capability to find safer picks. Information is king on that map, and I'll be frank, Akron's drone game for extension denial has been leagues ahead of Fisher. Fisher cannot extend on the defense, and Fisher apparently can't find kills in the attack when Gohan is a freebie against Arv, who is playing down inside basement. Okay, that's fine, whatever your vigil, but goodness gracious. The first shot should have sent you to sprint the other way, or at least turn their direction. It's slow on both ends, but that is inexcusable to not find that kill Gohan.
Well, we're going to see Nook's first performance debut within this series coming on match point. Maybe Maple Leaf can maneuver around their opponents, and rather than sneaking right in front of them, they'll be able to sneak to the side and get a little bit more of a creative kill. And Robe looking to use the Kludge drone, and I'm a little bit concerned, Scott, if I'm being completely frank, because they have a lot of obvious utility, and Kludge drone coming in clutch here as they're able to collect onto one Maestro Cam. 2 shots remaining on their drone as they continue to maneuver free through sight. But there's a double kill. Arv able to collect onto NECC. And gunfights are going to continue as they ring out.
Fisher just haven't had an answer for how to engage quickly and safely into this objective. Akron have been the kings of swift, I would say swift execution would be the phrase I would say for it. And Fisher have been slow. Rogue does not understand the environment here for the outside. Tries to shoot at rocks. Unfortunately, those have feelings. If you've ever had a pet rock, you would know. AKA Patrick Starr. I'm sure we all know him. Robe still, though, lying in wait around car garage is just trying to bide their time. There's nothing more you can really do. You just have to pray that they don't know where you are. And unfortunately, Akron know exactly where you are. Good map, Chiji Nori. Heading on over to map 3. Fisher. A 2-0 deficit, Binks. These are the first and second seed coming into this. These are the 2 top dogs in the NECC. And our highest division, the highest honors you can get here, the R6 side of the NECC. And the Zips, Akron, have outright said they are just better. And that is crazy to say, considering how good Fisher actually is.
I want to look over towards just their previous maps. Akron, inside of this tournament, have yet to lose a map, first of all.
To be fair,
they have yet to... Yes, and I am going by the one map only, against Yoto Garnet. But they have also yet to lose a map without dropping 2 rounds, which is just crazy to think about. I know it doesn't really apply too much, but I guess I'll go back a little bit to that later when we get to the next map, because I want to talk and pick your mind a little bit on this one, because I don't think we saw very much. We saw a little bit of vertical play, but I think that might have been Fisher's saving grace, because they did play the aggression. Do you think that vertical play had more of a place, and it will have more of a place going to the next map?
I feel like the floorboard holes, the hell holes as I call them, were heavily utilized on Oregon very well for Akron. And on this map, we saw them attempt to be used by Fisher, and still Akron were using them better. Ard was the greatest example of that on Gohan 5 rounds prior, where Gohan created the floorboard holes up in Solarium, attempting to use them for that trophy window. And yet still Arv got 90% of their health gone and had no problems in that engagement. Akron just, I think they have a better understanding of the map and where everything kind of lies, right? You kind of have this like sixth sense about where you are in relation to soft floors, where you're in relation to walls and things like that. It may just be a difference of experience for Akron, considering they are an older roster. They have legends in the cleated scene like I'm at, right? And Hennessy, it just could be that, who knows? But we'll know for sure when a very heavy floorboard map of Cafe, 3 floors at which you can work from, is coming up next after this quick little break. We'll see you guys soon.
That's still my babe. I love the fact I didn't let her go. She loves the fact that I just let her know. Now we're together, it's a different mode. We getting crazy in a different role. I love the fact I didn't let her go. She loves the fact that I just let her know. Now we're together, it's a different mode. We getting crazy in a different role. We getting crazy in a different role. She loves the fact that I just let her know. We getting crazy in a different role. We getting crazy in a different role. my space, I spend my time down the rabbit hole again. And as I fall, I can feel the pain. You can't tell me where to go, so I don't know, I just go with the flow. I go with the flow. I'm falling up, I'm falling down, from the sky and from the ground. Up above just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo. I'm out of love, but I guess I deserved it. Trying to hide, to pass you by. I'm getting down, feeling fine. I'm light as air, no one can reach me. Lost in a dream, lost in between. Let's keep on flying, let's keep on breathing. I'm falling up, I'm falling down, from the sky and from the ground. Up above just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo. Cause I'm stuck in limbo. Cause I'm stuck in limbo.
One touch from you, and I was hooked.
Cafe Doroskievsky up next, a 7-2 victory on both maps for map 1 and 2. Cafe is a different beast though. We'll have to see if Fisher College has something tucked up their sleeve. Unfortunately, they lost the aces in the last two. Let's hope they found the cards from their 42 card pickup to stuff back up there.
I think that we do have a pretty good chance going on to a map like Cafe, which is once again going towards Fisher's map pick, and this is quite late, so you could be looking deeper into your map pool, and that could be the same said for Akron as we go diving right on into our third and what could be the final match of your Rainbow Six Siege Nationals. Do you see any big obscure target bans coming in? Are we going to see that same Ying, Flores, Valkyrie? Especially
Flores will likely. Flores isn't a required ban for this map. It's kind of like a comfort ban. I would expect the Ying to still be banned. Kind of like a must, I think.
Ooh.
Akron still opt to go with Thatcher instead. This is likely to make it a little bit harder for them to breach through that red wall connecting over towards VIP from the top of red stairs. I can only anticipate that to be the case. I don't want to assume they don't hate the LAD52 that much. Maybe that is the case. Who knows? Flores will be banned at the top of Ying, though, so the Candelas will be allowed to wreak havoc. Only great spot for these is going to be in from windows as well as to dump out, maybe through Skylight for that third floor. Be a little bit harder to utilize those Candelas when it comes to the first and second floor. You do have to actually get into the map first and foremost. Valkyrie off the board, though, for the first defensive ban. Akron will follow suit with one of their own. Malusi is sometimes banned. You'll do see the Mira occasionally, though it's a little bit less on this map.
I see it with my just obscure. Nope.
Zombie. This one also makes sense. It makes it a lot harder to hold on to Pixel when it comes to third floor inside VIP.
I saw a possible repeat with the Wamai, but that will not happen, as the throwable utility will very much be captured. And Arv, please give it to us. I have so many things I could say about Cav in this map, but I do think that with... Okay, he heard me. Go ahead, Scott. That just ruined all of my hopes and dreams of seeing a Caveira in the finals, but...
we're never going to see that.
I know we're never going to see that, but Arv still teased us, man. It hurts. It just hurts.
I think it's the EU broadcast for Blast had a bingo board. That is really unlucky. They had a bingo board, though. They were literally tossing out everything.
What do you mean they're tossing out everything? Whoa.
They have sent out 3 toxic
Whoa,
babes.
I thought I heard only one.
No. That is all 3 toxic babes for Arv gone. Was there like a team fight or something in the break in between map 2 and 3? Is there falling out?
I think that's
Are we in the wrong
protest.
games as Fall Guys? Arv is usurping the team's chances. Losing those toxic babes stinks. That's a tough way to go about it. Maybe his middle mouse button was bound to be constantly pressed. Doesn't make any sense either. User takes a huge lick of damage right off the rip, but it is IMAC to take down Maple. You're losing out on that buck. Really does stink. That was your one good chance to efficiently clear out the hatches on the rooftop, because Cafe tends to be a very top-down approach for every single objective, to be frank. You'll have to rely on the Ayana nades instead, or you could do an EBR as well. Can also get the job done, but much easier to use the skeleton key to get that one underway. Gohan's waiting patiently down on the first floor near Small Bakery, just biding their time, and it seems to be Beezer rotating to balcony, or terrace, however you want to call it. Maybe get an angle in through C2 and C3.
I'm amazed at all the aggression being played by Akron, and it will be answered as Arv, the smoke-heavy player, to be the first on the defenders to be relegated to the bench. I'm a little bit curious at Akron's hold, as I feel like it's very gunfight oriented rather than looking towards the utility. But we still saw the Frost. We still have a proper Wamai set up. And we should still have a shield for Pixel up above. It's just a matter of how well is it going to be cleared, and how well is Fisher going to be reading this in the vertical play.
Cameras have been hacked. This sets things up for maybe a little bit more free information for the side here of Fisher. With Maple dead and Arb following suit afterwards, you would typically say, oh, this stinks. The smoke's off the board. That removes the Toxic Babes from contention in the final few seconds. If you blinked and you missed it right at the very beginning, there were no Toxic Babes in the first place. Arv decided that it was a lot funnier to toss them out into the wind. These are working in NC1 of all places. You repel off that balcony side. You can apply a lot of pressure to make it so that Akron cannot rotate away from that position. IMAT, though, does not need to rotate away from White Stairs. Robe aggresses from across fireplace and will pay the price, forcing Gohan to swing in quickly. Gohan now trapped between a rock and a hard place as a player by picks and a player inside freezer keeps them in a tough spot. Pinched, Cappy, rotating, kind of filling in the blank space that Beezer was at previously, but this time towards C3. Now the only player left standing being Cappy, still on that repel. JetCon may go for this run out. I know they're there. Cappy's in the reload. And no. It's not mattering what you put in play. Your Nomad finds no success. We'll get the job done in free fall.
That's just an impressive shot to hit. Akron going up 1-0. That can't be a good feeling for Fisher, especially in a round that they felt like they definitely could have had a grip on in the later parts of it. Capcan, as well as Frost, being two trap operators being selected, and perhaps that will fix Arv's problem of deploying util right away if a Capcan trap cannot just be placed out in the open. I don't know if that was a problem or a conscious choice. Regardless, attackers need to locate and defuse I need something I really need to see on the side of Fisher is more of a clear motive with what you were trying to clear out. I like that they were going from the east side of the map, taking the White Stairs. But I want to see more of a pinched pressure. I want Akron to feel like they constantly cannot rotate a certain way because they have too much freedom around their own map. And even if that's a wedge being placed by Fisher, that could result in 2 trades. Util every single round needs to be forced out of the hands of the defense.
How much effectiveness can you truly rely and ask for? Well, in a BO5 grand final for the Nationals of the NECC, it's got to be a lot. Pretty much perfect. And right now, Akron have showcased a little bit of pizzazz. I think last round was a little bit of a, I won't say fluke, despite her being a great caster. But it was a little bit of a misnomer. All Toxic Babes gone. Cheeky runouts and spawn peaks. Akron were testing the water, so to say, against Fisher. Spawn peak being attempted once again inside of Cigar Lounge. IMAT really wants this one. You can tell there is a player droning just around that corner. They are not aware, despite having all of that there. IMAT will find yet another pickup, this one to Beezer. You have no exothermic charges, no hard breaches whatsoever. The pocket EMPs you brought in Robe's satchel of tricks will not matter, and boom goes the dynamite as Jobu sends one more to the afterlife and follows through to another. The range of the Mossberg is debilitating, and the SMG-11 has no problems whatsoever. Akron dominates again, now rising to the occasion.
Their ability to understand the positioning of their opponents. I just want to go and highlight that hold inside a bakery. The lack of a hold from Fisher allows for just that constant press, that constant pressure away from sight. Absolute masterclass in how to play with your team, because as they are waiting and pushing, they know they have the reinforcement. They know they have not cleared up. And that's where you have someone playing in small pantry. Or small bakery. It constantly, it's a well-oiled machine that is Akron, as a C4 is detonated immediately as the round starts. I'm just curious, where does it go from here? How can Fisher pick up these pieces? It's such a mental reset that is required, and especially on a tertiary bomb site like Reading and Dining, it is hard to do because you have a lot of steps that have to be followed. You have to go, and we talk about a cookie cutter assault on Cafe where you go top down. If you have trouble clearing, you're going to try new things, and that can just lead to further frustration. Where do you go as an IGL to calm your team down and choose that winning strategy?
Well, You reach into your bag of tricks and you find something that's going to work. It's not like Fisher are lacking strategies. Fisher have a wonderful coach behind them.
Mm-hmm.
They're accoladed for that reason. They've got a lot of strategies, a lot of history, despite being a younger roster in general. These players like to play together. They have fun. This is their year. And unfortunately, Akron have turned this dream of the NECC Nationals first place victory into a bit of a nightmare. The history of Akron is continuing further. It's no longer just history. It's a present domination. I'm at hiding within Cigar Lounge. Look at the wall they've opened up here in red. No reinforcements there for the defensive Akron. They're completely giving up that spot. No spawn peak also. Successful for the Akron side. You would say this is successful for Fisher to have survived to this point. I'm at still trapped over here. Trying to work from something. We'll go ahead for a run out. They're doomed to die. I'm not sure they're going to survive for too much longer. What can you truly do? I cannot believe they got through, but thankfully Beezer will get them nonetheless. That's what the skeleton key is for. Finding those floorboards. Beezer avenges the past 2 rounds. And it is Fisher finally with a man advantage at some point here in this series. Arv, though, denying the twofer and making it just a one-man differential.
We can also look at this. 130. There's no coverage up above. You have players ready to take control, but equally Akron ready to go and leave it for the offense to start using. You do have the sledge, as the buck has been eliminated, and you do have a further extended man advantage as Gohan deletes Hennessy. 2-4. 2 players left on site. No C4 remaining for Arv, as they'll still be able to find a beautiful headshot onto Capybara. Evening things out 1-1. Jet has been known to play in these absolute minute, I could call them, angles, but it's going to be the aggression of Arv that is going to put Jet in a 1v3 clutch situation. Can they use their gadget effectively? Can they find their frags? All will be determined in the next 40 seconds.
Time is slowly ticking away. For Akron, Jack Khan is the only one remaining, and you've got a lot of weight on your shoulders. You make this a 3-round buffer, give yourself a huge lead against Fisher. It also could just go to a single. That's exactly what's going to happen. Rogue from down in laundry drops through hatch, has assistance nearby as well. No way to deny that, and you are easily spotted the opposing side of the hall. Fisher will get to 1. Half the margin at which they've been able to reach every single map so far, but that has been truly it for them. 2's the limit. Typically, it's the sky, and unfortunately, that's not been the case for the Fisher side. Also, they're fish. Their logo is a bird, so technically, I guess they would try to go for the sky.
They're penguins.
Are they penguins?
No, it's more of a guess. If you said bird and sky, then I thought penguin.
Bird. I
meant pangolin. No, not penguin. I'm forgetting the name right now. It looks like a penguin, but can actually fly. The one from Penguins in Madagascar too.
We can just ask Yali.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best bet, rather than me messing up my animals. Yeah, I think it's a bird though.
It's definitely a bird. It has a beak.
Oh,
name another animal that has a beak like that is not like an avian in some kind.
I think fisher, as in a bird of prey that could fish. It could be like an eagle. Eagles would fish into the water. I'm really reaching right now.
I don't think fish has anything to do with Fisher. It was a one-off line from me. Okay, you're really harping onto these one-liners.
There's just a very hidden lore.
This is not a Five Nights at Freddy's lore video from Game Theory. Our names aren't Matt Pat. We're not deep dive, and not everything's an ARG here. Thanks. All right. Don't have to look at everything. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. Spawn peek being attempted once again. Akron just don't know how to stop. Thankfully for Fisher, they go around the other way. Don't have to face an unfortunate loss of life early in this round, though everything could change at a moment's notice. Hennessy is was attempting to make full use of the very large scope strapped onto the top of their MP5. Didn't find anything though, and they'll have to fall back and rely mostly on those stims to keep themselves and their team alive, and things start to get dicey in the last minute and a half or so of this round.
So a lot of utility being expended into a room that has nothing but a shield and nobody in it. Gohan able to collect a frag onto Jet. They were playing all the way back. I'm not actually sure where that death was, but doesn't change that all of upstairs is now, sorry, all of the western side of upstairs has been cleared. A lot of utility being sent out. Excavar's pellets, creating another route into Cigar and 140. I'd like to see Fisher start to take a lot more aggressive control, and it's hard when you have to drone everything out as Arv looking to rotate in. They'll escape back to shield with their life, and there's still an active ADS in that back corner, was not cleared out by a shield. This means that the players of Akron could actually move back in, play Pixel, and hold back until they can call it a day, because a minute 15, and I don't know if a single player from Fisher, oh yes, Bezer has made their way in, and Scott, I'm very concerned for time management.
65 seconds on the clock ticking away. Hennessy still holding a very nice front. It's IMAT though sitting in Pixel. That could be the biggest concern. Attempted there for the hard breach. It does manage to get through slightly. They toss out the nitro cell, but doesn't go off yet in time, leaving Hennessy and Jobu all by their lonesome. Jobu dealt with quickly, and it seems like there could be an ace potential coming out for Fisher. Hennessy has to close things out here though. 40 seconds left. Time, not an issue. Oh no, Cappy looks the wrong way. She's got to close things out, and she does. Secures the final kill. Hennessy unable to find anything there. A very unfortunate engagement for them, all things considered, as Akron will fall short in round 4 and are forced to now go to round 5, letting Fisher tie things 2-2.
Yeah, there's a lot of utility that was just thrown out by Fisher early round, and then it came down to just a really big individual performance, swinging around, base checking every single angle. And that's not to say they weren't droned early round. It just did not seem like they could have had that early info. It was a big trade game. Fisher doing a great job to come out on top, and I think they played the angles properly, where by putting so much utility and attention towards Cigar and Piano, they were able to here with it relative ease, as nothing still felt safe. You had the shield, but that would soon crumble, as just you can't really deal with 5 players rushing towards you. Back down to Kitchen. Last time we saw Akron get very aggressive with the spawn peak, and especially aggressive with the Mossberg SMG-11 combo. Whether or not that will be the case again is up for debate, as Fisher seems to, well, at least within the past 2 rounds, have adapted to Akron's aggressive nature.
10 seconds to go.
Aggressiveness tends to be something that is sometimes warranted. Akron did a great job on Oregon, so to say, earlier. We saw them play very aggressive when it came to their attack. When the bell was rung and they finally said, hey, let's get in there, they were very quick to do so, and they were very aggressive in the process. Early on in this map, they're very aggressive with their spawn peaks. Maybe this was to set a tone. Maybe this was to make Fisher waste time in these later stages of the round, the last 4. I would say that would be the case, but Akron have attempted the spawn peak every round. They've been less aggressive about it, been a little bit less likely to actually go for the run outs. IMAT was punished for that one, obviously, in round 3 and 4. Mostly round 3, to be frank. But it just slowed down Fisher to at least a degree, but Fisher have wisened up to that. Playing things a lot closer to the map, spawning away from that side of the map as well, and going more towards the river. Jobu's holding the Mossberg close, though. A rook is in play from Arv. Could keep Jobu alive, but if they're going to go down here, there's no chance they'd go past to be picked up after the fact. Drone spots away Jobu, but not before Gohan gets obliterated first by the pellets. Very wary of a presence nearby. Cappy could maybe get a flanking spot coming in from Small Bakery. Robe is going to fall back for a wider angle away from the range at which that shotgun can find damage. And did Beezer fall off the map? No, they crawled away.
I think they crawled. I think that's not really a spot.
Did not see Jobu hit them. Must have switched away at the perfect time.
Timing is everything, especially in Rainbow Six, and you're going to see Arv be able to collect on the headshot onto Cappy, leaving it down to a final 2. These are stuck at a low 20% health. Still to collect the headshot onto refragging Arv. That Rook Armor is not going to be able to do anything in that scenario. IMAT rotating from up above as the assault down below in VIP still continues to wreak absolute havoc. And I like Beezer's route here, playing a lot into trying to close off your opponents, but it doesn't matter, is you're still going to get pinched. You're going to have these fast firing weapons playing these close corners as IMAT to rotate it down from the third floor roam will collect onto the final headshot and maintain Akron's lead.
Akron have been a force to be reckoned with. It's not just the storms that have been brewing across the United States' southeast and east so far today. It's another reason why there's a couple games earlier on. They were a couple of the schools here in the NECC were warning the staff saying, hey, we may have internet outages. It happens. But apparently they weren't ready for the storm that's been a brewing for Akron. They've been striking fast. The Zips more like zaps. They are lightning strikes against the Fisher side. They're a force to be reckoned with. Up to the third floor, though. Bar and cocktail lounge. Why not, if it's working? Spawn peek attempted here again, Binks. I have to assume that is only the case.
It's your last chance to go for it. Why not take it?
It's actually their last chance. Could be their last chance in the series if they take this map.
Yeah, I like the Oryx pick as well, as I feel it's going to add versatility, and you're seeing a little bit of an interesting Oryx dynamic where rather than taking the smoke or using all the smoke's ammo to do all the clearing, you can split that up between the Oryx because they're
Oryx takes
Ramadashes.
damage, though.
No, only when it goes through walls. I'm talking about breaking all the bar plates. That's a really unique interaction towards them. So you'll still break all of it. And you can do the same thing for different things like the table inside of piano. If you want to create a crazy angle, you're like, oh, this piano is like blocking the line of sight a little bit. Oryx has the cool ability of just being able to run right through it and break the map in ways that I don't think people think of too much.
If that's the case.
No.
I think the biggest concern for Akron is not necessarily opening things up. It's not getting their corpses opened up. And that is exactly what's occurred here early for IMAT, who has had an unfortunate position the last few rounds. Continuously going for these spawn peaks, being aggressive, over-aggressing, getting caught off on runouts. Seemingly this happened once again. Not even 15 seconds into the round has elapsed, and they're down a player. That Oryx you mentioned previously. Z5 SMG not finding its target. Of course, it doesn't have the 1.5 anymore, if I recollect correctly. Which kind of stinks.
It has.
Very unfortunate. 3 flashes are having already been expended by Fisher, though, and that's really just to get up to the rooftop. You can imagine where they're going to use the rest of the 3, over half of them still remaining. Or half of them exactly still remaining, I would say. They're going to go ahead and try to breach down using the X-Kairos pellets, the reinforced wall at the top of Red Stairs, leading over towards Cigar. This is their chance to get a safe point of entry in. Every time Fisher has been able to get into the map on this 3rd floor, they've done a great job of dismantling Akron's defense. Jobu spotted by a drone, though, could be an issue. Nades being sent their way. The Mossberg's got some range, but you're asking a lot. I don't know how able to survive that. It must have been a Gemini replicator. I can only assume that's the case. A safe way down is the right idea, but it's still a blood for each, and it's a 4v4 still with 90 seconds remaining. And Jobu has not been forced away from this spot. Now going in, players prone. Maple's been DB'd out. Finally finished off by JetCon. A crossfire is in play. A second one in. Toxic Babe DB&O's another. Impact almost kills, and JetCon still finds it in the end. Pokemon, I choose you. It's just Robe remaining, and they've got a miss with Jobu, who's still over there. Doesn't notice a player stepped over to their right. I don't think they know at all. They hear the noise. They're going to swing the other way. It's over. The Zips will take themselves through a positive first half performance 4-2, like every other map so far in this series.
It appears that history keeps repeating itself, and it's the age-old debate of aggression versus progression, where you can try progression, but it's a matter of when you choose to go the other route, when you get aggressive and use everything you've built up to. And unfortunately, that was too soon. You didn't have the control. You had a lot of players looking to go the exact same route, and while that might have been given up to you in previous rounds, it's not the exact same. You need to look for the changes. You need to be the change inside of the round. I'm amazed by the Mossberg's effectiveness and just the choice to push that angle without trying to come up with a more creative way to rotate around. It was a big crutch where I felt like it was taken for granted rather than worked for. The kill.
How many times, Vix, have we seen Fisher's attempts into a site on the attack seem like they're going somewhere, and then Akron pull off the wackiest thing? Oh, Jobu's has a Mossberg sitting inside Cigar Shop. Oh, they're throwing Pokeballs at you through the hole you opened up. Why is the smoke tossing toxic babes into red drop? Akron have some of the strangest strategies we've seen. And I love to see low ranked R6 sometimes. Sometimes it's its own beast to measure. But seeing low ranking strategies or just chaos factor, you say even the pros struggle against bronzes. There's a reason why it's called like Elo Hell. Because they don't know what they're doing, then no one's gonna know what they're doing. Akron have brought out a little bit of that chaos factor, and I absolutely love to see it. I'm at though walking up straight to the bottom floor, straight through. I believe they came in through small bakery. They've got full control of red stairs. A drone is following suit right in front of them. Expected what you'd see. Maple has been very slow, but it will not be in fact be able to find the first pickup nor the first damage. Just Gohan rips off IMAT, takes some damage in the process, down about 45, but they get a kill and gives Fisher the lead.
I see waiting on the window repel. This is a great early position for Fisher because they were able to continue to play back and just hold their angles. What I want to see from Akron is a rotate to hold something different, to go and catch your opponents off guard a little bit. Using the nade, try to clear out any utility, get walls open. Some of breaching charges now finally being expended. We have Maple Leaf down below on the Thorn. This is going to be a little micro battle. And if you are able to clear this room, where you have the Buck down below ready to go, Maple Leaf forced all the way back into train, going to go for their rotate, make it away safely, and have a route back up the site, whether or not they choose to take it.
Shots to be sent out by JetCon, just making a lot of noise. Hennessy's not far behind though. Akron's still at that man disadvantage. Arv has been playing this glass quite a lot. Saw it on map 3. Sorry, map 2 for Chalet. See it here as well. Speaking of Arv, they take a very aggressive stance in through Cigar Lounge, and they get a kill off of it, but quickly paying the price after the fact. Hennessy has stepped up the shop. Now lying in wait behind Stack. Sees a player there. Not sure how Hennessy gets that one off the go, but they find a click kill, and JetCon has a crossfire setup as well. No needed pressure through window repel for that outside haul. They'll get the job done straight on. Aggressive stance finds success. 45 seconds left. Minx and Happy and Robe got their hands full with a man disadvantage. Things have not gone pretty for them.
No, they have not, and Joe has their work cut out. If they get that plant down, you can buy your team a little bit more time and flip the script, forcing the defenders to come to you, but there's still a C4 in the pocket of Cappy, waiting to be deployed. As time ticks down, it's going to be Akron who has to make this force forward. Rope, first of all, last player sitting inside a freezer, Thorn Trap being deployed, and a spray with the skeleton key. That shotgun has just become so much better. Using the extended barrel, it actually affects it. No, the extended barrel is not even on, as it's just going to be a beautiful spray. And Akron, 5-2, running away with this championship, Scott.
It has been a series, one of the series of all time. It's been one of them. Akron have made this so far to this point a non-contest. Fisher just has not been able to find an answer for them. And that is understandable to a degree. Akron is a ridiculously solid team. There is no negative aspect to it from Fisher that says they're not a good roster. They're the reason they're the number 2 seed. But when Akron can force their in-state competitor to forfeit the semifinal, you know Akron's a team to be worried about. I say that because Ohio State was who they were supposed to face in the semifinals, and they had forfeited their series. I'm not sure why Ohio State did that. Maybe they're scared of Akron. I don't think that's the case, but let me hope and dream. And while both teams had to have a forfeit up to this point, Fisher College still had to play their semis. And that means Akron are a little bit more well rested. But you know for a fact, they were scrimming 5 games in between that time period. They were doing everything they could to stay warm, so to say, in that time frame. Speaking of staying warm, they now get to heat things up even further back onto the attack once again. Fisher has some players up on that second floor. Akron are going to go up straight to the top, more likely than not. Hennessy will be the player to drop through first and foremost. The shield gives them a level of safety. They could just take small cocktail lounge. Since it is a first floor approach, they could just go quickly like we saw them do on Oregon for that basement push. Just say everywhere else does not matter. No need to clear out the extension. Fisher's extension isn't doing anything to us anyways. Let's just go into sight. I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah, Fake Boost well underway. Defender's gas is going to increase the fear factor that they're going to have to deal with. Capybara has a C4 ready, prepped. The Finka boost is in play. There is no smoke, however, on the board to capitalize on the Finka's presence. And just waiting. Capybara times this properly. The entire aggression rush of sorts from Akron could be completely thrown into another round.
Are slowly prowling in from Small Bakery. Not sure what your glass thermal scope's gonna do you here, but get you something. Have to deal with that Fenrir utility. The smoke bombs. Not really what they're called, but it is what it is. Mind you, if you ever played Destiny 2, reminds you of the smoke bombs you get when facing a hunter. And they provide just as much fear, because you have no idea what is truly going on around you. And hallway down here on Cafe Main Hall for the first floor. As good a place as any. Same thing here towards VIP. Seems like control, though, for VIP. Still not given over to Akron. Great job from Fisher. It's Gohan currently locking that one in. Akron's attempt of pressure here with the blitz has pivoted over from that west side and moved to the east. Arv fouled off, though, from Gohan. NECC has not found a player to contest against. The Ash now moving in slowly. They got to get through coat check. They can't find that success just yet. Rowe playing from within. Great flanking haul by JetCon. JetCon spraying down more. Hennessy's been DB note. Pistol is out. They still get the kill. Worried there's a player on stairs, but still alive for now. Hennessy picked back up. It's a 3v2, but Gohan's got a hatch. Maple is in fact on stairs.
This makes for an interesting ability to play off site. Whether or not they're spotted out, they will be. This prompts the players to turn their heads towards the sky, knowing that sight is clear. 30 seconds. What route you take to get in? Be the breaching round. Cases in the hand of Jobu. They're gonna have to contend towards Freezer. The Soul's playing up above. Flash, ineffective. Waiting to find the head.
Ooh.
There's Maple with a double. Jet has been downed. All of them to Jobu from up above, and Fisher, for the first time in the series, are gonna press to 3 rounds. But can they turn it into a match?
Akron still have a 2-round buffer at which they can find some more success. They need 2 more rounds to close this thing out. 1 round away from match point, series point. For the NECC Nationals Legends Division. Kept at bay 1 more. Fisher did a great job in that round. Not over-aggressing. No one was really locking in main hall, which I think was the only downside I saw to Fisher's strategy there. I think their coach at player was taking too much heat from their direction. It seems like it was too slow of a take to try to deal with JetCon. Because of that, Akron were given too many free kills right there towards the end. Thankfully, knowing that they were a little bit slow on the take there, created opportunity for Fisher to just sit back on their haunches and wait. Let time play into it. Yeah, it was a 2v2, and it's effectively a 3v2 when Father Time ticks your way. Why in, I guess it gets technically an R6 as well. In Valorant, the current meta is currently just sprint into the site and plant the spike as fast as you possibly can. Goes from a 5v5 to a 6v5, lickety split. Now, that's not necessarily falling over to the Akron side, but they do like to play that aggressive, and Fisher have done a wonderful job of slowing that down. That was a really reliant on keeping the blitz at bay. And they had to play that blitz from Cocktail, from Bakery, all the way over to the opposing side through Garage. They really forced Akron to move around the map, and I think that was a great way to just burn even more of that clock.
You mentioned getting that case down, but we've seen very, very few case plants this entire series. And we have, if I am correct, we've yet to see a defuse. Which is really saying something about playing for the man or not playing back and choosing when to push up. We've seen rounds won on time by the defenders, but interesting to note the amount of attacker control for both sides. Especially going on to a map like Cafe where some of these corner and hidden plants are possible when you deal with the explosive utility of a Nitro.
How many times are we going to see Akron bring out the glass? More specific, I won't even say Akron. It feels like Arv isn't on the team. Arv's doing his own thing half these rounds. Throwing out toxic babes in round 1 willy-nilly. Prowling off alone on Cafe. Sorry, not on Cafe. They have done a little bit here on Cafe. On Chalet. I think Akron really liked the idea of the nade spam. They let Arv, who's the substitute we've, as we called out earlier, for the side of Akron, let them kind of do their own thing. They kind of feel themselves as best they can. Glass has great scope potential, great damage.
Causes
Basically
chaos.
an EBR. Plus the nades. We want to let a player go off and give themselves a chance going forward. Nades are a great way to do that. Magnet will rip away a nade for now. Does kind of force away that player, so it's not a total waste of that nade, but doesn't do much damage, and that's a problem. Thorn sent out here from Go Hot. Fortunately, it seems to have clipped against the painting, that frame that was still hanging there on that wall. Debris is annoying in its own right. It doesn't stop it too far, as Akron have been kept at bay here for a fairly good job of not being allowed in towards this side and not giving any safety over towards Cocktail either.
You can see a lot more of this little timed aggression from Akron. Nade being tossed out. We'll be able to find his mark. Huge headshot as the trap has been sprung. Arv as well as Imat able to find one. There's a second one for Imat. They're back inside of our freezer plant being attempted by Jobu. This one does look to be successful. Maple Leaf able to take out Imat. Freezer control back in the hands of the defenders. Maple with 2. Arv able to collect their second with Glad. All of them to rope. And there's 3 beautiful headshots from the Glads. We question the pick. But Arv comes in true, and a crisp one tap to send Akron spiraling to match point, as well as nationals, series, whatever
However
title
many phrases you can say for it.
I can keep rephrasing and let me get the thesaurus out. Akron is about to win
You
this
own
one.
a physical thesaurus, Binks?
Probably somewhere.
Dude.
I know it belongs in a museum. It's stupidly enough, I think it's like this mini. I can go and try to find it, but it's a mini French thesaurus.
Oh yeah, because you guys speak native language up north.
Yeah.
I was up at SI. I thought at any moment I was gonna at any moment when I was like buying and ordering food, that when I would sit down, they bring my food to me, my table would start rising because they're just speaking spells to me. Didn't understand anything.
The fun part about Quebec is that they are very forceful about making sure that French is spoken.
I was actually very surprised about how nice. You know, the Canadian people are very nice, which I mean is kind of the trope, right?
Yeah.
Kind of the expected, but they were very nice. Also, what is it? Toupine? What is it called? Fries and gravy. Poutine.
Poutine.
Very good.
What?
Poutine was very delicious.
Thank you.
Also,
I know it's
McDonald's
amazing.
serves poutine up there.
Yeah.
That's weird. Not too
McDonald's
strange. I got a friend
poutine
who's in
is probably one of
Korea,
the
and
worst
apparently
in my-
their
one of
whole
the
menu
worst.
is different in Korea at McDonald's. Dude thought he was about to get a burger and actually have a real protein in his diet there. And he said he was
McDonald's in
sorely
like South America has ice cream. Or sorry, not ice cream.
McDonald's
like,
in
No. I didn't mean. I meant that differently. I meant
Japan or something has like steak.
What?
Yeah, they have very interesting things across the world. Like, you think it's some standardized thing? No, it's not.
Well, we can focus a little bit more for the remainders. Arp has already taken a little bit of damage. They're going to be reattempting possibly towards this top side. I know it's going to be down on the second floor. I'm just confused by this extreme extension and a lot of flashes being sent out. Gohan is flashed out, as well as the cost of Caesar, but nothing to come of it. Just a util dump. Look at the throwables. You have no nades left. Like, very, very confused at the lack of aggression from Akron, where it seems uncharacteristic. But lo and behold, all 5 from both teams still on the board, still ready to have it when they get the chance.
I got half of them remaining. Still half their nades. The issue is the hands of Arv, who's already taken a lot of damage. It's going to be very difficult to get them into an angle which they feel comfortable to toss those out. And Hennessy just sent out their last one from within Skylight and found nothing at the end of it. Speaking of nothing, Jobu comes up with nothing in this round. Thankfully, Arv is there for a refrag back. Arv gets none of their nades out, though. It doesn't seem like IMAT's going to find a kill either. A 2v4 drop through hatch. Beezer, an aggressive spot. No call out for the team? As Beezer playing that aggressively goes unpunished? Could have been flicked. Could have found that shot. Now it's just JetCon. A 1v4. Collectible for sure. But you're asking a lot from the one-man army. He's 11-3, tries to make it to 12, does so successfully. All players seemingly still up on that 3rd floor. One player has dropped over towards Y stairs. JetCon will be very wary of red stairs as they prove through the main corridor. The move over towards train itself, maybe perusing the option of going in towards fireplace, but with the hell holes created from above and how slow you move crawling through it, it's not something JetCon is looking forward to right now. And I think because of that, they're still just testing their options, and I think they like the idea of moving from pillar in through library instead. We're just taking the 3rd floor, but it's just a little bit too late for that here, bud.
15 seconds. Gonna have to get Case, make their way down, spray for a gunfight. You're basically playing right now to try to pat the KD, maybe collect one more. Will they be able to do it? Yep. JetCon able to find Beezer. Sprinting down, 5 seconds, no chance at a plan. Able to find a triple. And if for whatever reason Cappy is there and waiting, could have seen a different round, but pat the KD, Jet definitely did. As we now see another round going the way of Fisher. Just breaking that down, it was just a matter of Fisher just absolutely eating utility that was thrown at them by Akron, and at the end of the day, holding their gunfights. Aggressive play has gone unpunished, and I think the one that's really going to come to mind there is Beezer sprinting up, and I feel like they were the nail in the coffin that round.
Yeah, Beezer was just out there. Beezer was out for revenge, for a situation that didn't even need revenge. Akron hadn't done anything to you, besides the last few maps, I guess, but coaches usually tell you forget the last map, right? I mean, put the past behind you. Look forward to the next one. Play next map. Play next. GG, go next.
Memory of a goldfish.
Sometimes it seems that way. I get we're omnipotent in the booth. We have the viewpoint that these players don't, but
we have the
sometimes
angles. We have the outlines.
Too quickly where your teammate was just killed from, or you forget to highlight that out for your teammates, and it becomes an issue. That's what happened with Beezer. Just kind of left unleashed, so to say. No need to pull them back quickly. Fisher had that one by the straps. Akron, though, still at match point, series point here for the NECC Nationals Finals, the grand finals. We like to be as grand as we can here. They were kept at bay for a little bit. Fisher, a lot cleaner in the round. Did still come to a 1v1. We won't necessarily highlight it as such. But it is a first floor defense, and IMAT is using the Garu Hook wielder of Amaru.
I like the aggression, and we see IMAT go for that multiple times. It's worked out in rounds, but and it worked with some spawn peaks. There's other rounds where it did not work so effectively and resulted in the no play either getting shut down or not probably being droned in. So if IMAT plays with their team and uses the air hook at a very pivotal time to completely overwhelm their opponent, I think we are in an absolutely great position. Otherwise, I am a little bit hesitant at that pick. As I say this, we see a push right on in through Bakery well underway. 3 players making it clear that's what they're looking at. Cappy did opt towards the Kaid, which makes it a little bit harder to go for it, but the pocket EMPs will do their job as Garage looks to be opened in just a moment's time.
You can hear the destructive force being reeled out by Akron in the background. They didn't really bring too much to the table, all things considered. So Selmas have already been sent out. Jobu now droning for a teammate ahead. Arv using the glass sniper. Once again, sees a player. Takes a huge lick of damage first and foremost, though, and is going to have to think twice about re-engaging. On the second floor, though, it's IMAT. Likely Garu hooked up to the top mirror, maybe through a window. He'll deal with Gohan, but it's still JetCon to fall next to the side of Akron. A plant was attempted. It does not matter. Dealt with quickly. And there has been no safe space for Akron to work with, leaving just now Hennessy and Arv by their lonesome. Arv is deep in towards site. 4 players left. Hennessy removed. And Arv has a nice one tap there to Beezer. Does not know where any player lies. A player behind the bomb chassis, and Maple will use the MP7 to their just woes to clean out the remaining player. Fenrir is a very effective force in the right hands, and also has the weirdest looking player model on the right side, the HUD for the competitive scene. Hate that. It's so large in comparison to every other player, every other operator. Why does it have smoke there? No one else does that. Not even Smoke. That's his name.
I don't really have an answer for you. I
Why
can
not?
smile
I thought
and
you
nod.
would know something about Ubisoft, considering that you live where they work.
What? Bro, like, there's a Ubisoft office everywhere. Let's be honest.
I don't believe that.
San Francisco. It's just Rainbow Six is from Montreal, and I don't live in Montreal. I live in the great city of Toronto that everyone wants to go visit.
I just don't think that's true, dude. You're lying.
But I live in Toronto? That part's very true.
Yeah, I don't believe that either.
It's a lie. It's just a fabrication that I'm Canadian.
Yeah, to be fair.
Otherwise, I'd look like a psychopath for being nice.
You did say sorry earlier.
Did I actually?
Yes, to which I was absolutely laughing about
What?
in the A chat for this broadcast.
I didn't even realize.
I'm sorry, but I couldn't hold it in.
Well, sorry about that. And I'll
Sure
try to
you
look
are.
up. Oh man.
Is that the cousin of Dory?
You're horrible. You're really horrible. You're just ripping me to shreds for something I can't control. I can talk in an American
called him
accent if you
Maru.
like. Amaru. It's Amaru.
That's just not it.
It's Amaru.
You get what you
Trying to-
deserve.
Well, I can
What you
talk in an American accent for the rest of this broadcast if you really
That's not
like.
even an American accent. That's just a Southern accent.
Which does count under
And
what
I'm from
category?
the South and I don't talk like that, so.
That's because you're making a conscious effort not to.
I know. I just haven't had an accent my whole life.
Yeah, lucky you.
Haven't had to worry about it.
Neither have I.
I'm sorry about that. By the way, continuing on with the series so far, the Ohio-based Akron side have had a pretty good job so far of getting the lead. 7-2, 7-2 for our first two maps. It is BO5. There is the chance we go to more. But I'm sure Akron will be plenty happy with closing this one out in a 3-0 affair. But Fisher have done a great job of gatekeeping the Zips. They may have to play this one a little bit more seriously. Still, 6 nades in the back pocket. They're sending out one now. I think they've decided to hold back. They're going to drone things first and foremost, and maybe should have done a little bit better of a job. As it is, IMAT now taken off the board once again by Maple, who's had a pretty good showing for Fisher. Has really come alive here on this map.
I'm curious to see how they'll be able to play with these picks. Oh, the spray! I thought it was going to be pick from the Warden, but nope. It's going to be Beezer. Able to swing out and find their frag. Giving it a 5-3 advantage. I am a little bit curious, I must admit, as Akron seem to be struggling. And it's it's very hard to just put the nail in the coffin, especially in a series. You're going to start overthinking, you're going to start overcomplicating. And as these smokes ring out, getting this plant down from Jobu could be so very pivotal. Do they have the information? Do they have the utility required? That's the question on everyone's mind. Hennessy prepping an aid, tossed out. He's going to force him out of position. Traded back and forth.
Over.
Maple with 2. And that just a quick little cleanup as every single angle now covered by the defenders of Fisher. And this is a quick turnaround. This is Fisher's map as they press us towards overtime. Akron no longer having that match point advantage.
Keep in mind, Akron have not had a very successful attacking affair. It has been a very defender-favored map in the latter stages here for Fisher. Having Akron now play 2 attacking rounds in this OT, it not being a, I'd say, modern esport, even though CSGO also does it, an infinite OT esport, maybe the way I would phrase it. That is not good looking for the Zips. This could very well go to a 4th map. Fisher could force this out and go all the way. But them showing up only in the 3rd still leaves a sour taste. Fisher could have been here sooner. 6-6 our scoreline, OT guaranteed. And my goodness, Binks, that last round for Fisher was so much cleaner than anticipated. Akron were relying too much on brute force nades. And when they're missing half of the nades or a third of their nades, I'd say more actively speaking, losing IMAT right off the rip, who's had a pretty horrid performance for their attack. Did really well in the defense, even though they were very sacrificial lamb, going for spawn picks over and over again, but they were a constant on one of the side of Fisher. That's really all you can ask for most of the time. An okay attacking side so far, but in comparison to what they could be doing, leaving a team out to dry in a round like that, that is still your series point. The last buffer you have against Fisher before OT is forced. You got to come up bigger than that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. It was lackluster, and I think that Akron is not utilizing the angles they should have. We see a buck being selected. I want to see someone down below inside a cigar wreaking havoc shooting above, or above shooting right down, which is what we can see in this round as they go towards reading. This is a site that they won very dominantly. That was almost clutched back by JetCon, but in all reality it was a 3-1 and all they had to do was hide. I am very worried for Fisher, but equally worried for Akron, because they are slowly starting to slip and make mistakes that we know that they aren't typically going to make. And that slippage is what Fisher needs to go and get that confidence that we've been missing from them this entire match.
Need a confidence. Great drop from Akron to move in from Red Stairs hatch quickly in towards the guard. They know it's not the third floor, so more likely than not, you're not going to see a heavy pressure from Fisher on this side. Gotta say that a lot of that has been assisted by the pressure coming in from C3. That repel being utilized from that tear side. It has not removed the players working as best they can towards new balcony, but it does mean there's no one towards cigar. There's no one inside VIP. Gives you a little bit more safe space. Lounge as well. NECC watching as best they can. Gohan, you saw them. The tiniest sliver was there. You know they're on the repel. Ahmed has pivoted just slightly to deny the initial angle. Working elsewhere. Drone at, well, pretty aggressive angle to work from. It looks like Gohan's not going to pivot back here for the drone drop. They're going to go for the fight. They win it. A trade, but not the player you want to lose when you're working top down. The sledge off the board, thankfully. And Ash, as well as the buck, still available to clear out these floorboards and make it a problem child for Fisher to sit back on site. Are finding a second pick here in this round for the Akron side. Gives them a man advantage, but they don't have a safe space to work with just yet, because Maple has an angle towards New Balk. And if a player drops into Pillar, they could pay the price. JetCon tries to fight it, barely survives, but it does force Maple away. You can breathe easier now if you're Akron.
Now you need to continue the pressure that you've started to put towards site. You need to follow it up. You have this vertical. You can't let them get into comfortable positions. They should not feel comfortable. You have to push them. These angles corral your opponents. If you're Akron, Fisher, you need to get aggressive. Go and find that hole. Make a hole in their offense if you can and escape right on through it. With 30 seconds, you now need to shift your mind towards the plant. If you're in the mind of Jobu, what do you do next?
Gotta wait for the team. Clear out the Vulcan canisters that have been put in play and wait for the fire to dissipate. You need pressure coming in from that laundry hatch. Player to drop down white stairs could do the same thing. Pillar has been a problem child, and it finally does fall in favor of Akron as Maple will take themselves off. Cappy makes a lot of noise. They're gonna go. They have to swing through laundry. They're swooting the wrong way. Do they have it in time? Jobu may just be denied. It doesn't go in time. How do they let that get planted? And Akron will steal the kill. Akron, who have struggled to find an attacking round win, do so in the first attempt in OT. And now all they gotta do is repeat the success they had so prevalent on the defense. Well, they took 4 again from the Fisher side. Statistically speaking, Binks, this is their chance. But statistically speaking, Fisher should have won that last round as well. Anything
that
can
was
still
a
happen.
spray denial. That could have been a 3 or 4v1 clutch. But that is the nerves of the moment that will absolutely ring out. Those are the ones that are going to give you nightmares, where you're going to overcompensate and just shoot a little bit too high, trying to collect on the head rather than going for those safer body shots. Akron, defense. They're going to opt to go and defend all down on kitchen. We've seen moments of greatness from this roster. We've seen this peak up above. Not to mention the fact we've seen Jobu with that Mossberg wreak absolute havoc inside a bakery. Akron, the ball is in your court. How do you get that final point? How do you sink this and crown yourselves NECC Rainbow Six national champions? For Fisher, how do you maintain, how do you get back that confidence? These are questions these players are asking themselves constantly. We, the viewers, get the amazing experience of just getting to enjoy the ride, enjoy the highs and lows, not have to make the decisions for these teams. And it looks like as a late game progressive, the mind games, the patterns that teams have settled into can make all the difference.
I'm asking to sit themselves up in piano. How many times have we seen this man attempt the same peak? Fisher have, well, they've reached into their bag of memories Their memory palace, as a lot of people call it. They've said, oh, maybe we don't spawn over there. There's plenty more windows on this map, and it is working for Arv. They don't need a window. They'll open up garage. 2 players off the board. Beezer and your gridlock of Cappy. You have lost the hard breach for your team, and you still haven't even refragged and avenged that. Gohan stepped into Frost map. Fisher is watching themselves fall apart. The fans have to be in shambles. What is going on at Fisher College? It's just Robe and Maple left. Gohan could technically be picked back up. They're droning up to make sure it's totally safe. But they're going to come back at limited HP. What more can you do? It's still a gun up. Still a gun up. Still someone who can fire back.
It's a really big concern, if you ask me. Maple starting to make their way in, and if you clear code check, you're in a better position. You might be able to narrow that man down, and you have the flashes ready to go. Is Jet ready for it? Nade cooked out, looking for one, finds it, and it's all left up to the lonesome Ayana, waiting for their opportunity with a limited 20 health. Swings around, Jet with a flawless round, and your national NECC R6 champions have been crowned in the Forum of Akron in a dominant 3-0 victory.
These 2 teams were separated by a single seeding, first and second place, but you could not have made the map, the score line for the BO5, any more favorited to the Zips. 3-0. You look at the first 2 maps, you can tell it was kind of trending in their direction, right? 7-2, 7-2. Second half didn't find a single round in either map. Cafe was where they had to show up, and they did. They showed up, and they did exceptionally well. That's where Fisher looked like Fisher. But they still couldn't close things up. That's where Akron finally showcased a little bit of that Akron style, a little bit of that Akron clutch factor. They're known for it. They've done it every year, and they're continuing to do so here. They're the NECC champs here for the Legends Division for the national side. Very big congratulations to them. I'm sure they're very happy with their performance. And speaking of their performance, we're going to talk to one of their players. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break before we get into that action. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We're going to bring somebody in from Akron and have a little chat with them.
I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? When you look, when you touch, when you feel, yeah. When you look, when you touch, when you feel, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you look, when you touch, when you feel, yeah. When you look, when you touch, when you feel, yeah.
you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Let me feel it. Let me feel it. Fall into your when you dream, do you see?
Welcome back, everybody. I know things may not look very different, but I promise you we are joined here with not just the two of us, but a third man hiding behind the scenes. It's Arv in the booth. Just a quick check-in. How you doing, Arv?
I'm good, feeling good.
Glad to hear it. Now, since this is an interview, let's go ahead and ask more than just a simple question like that. Coming into this one, you guys have a bit of a history with Fisher College. All things considered, you faced each other at the CR6 LAN that happened previously. I don't know if you'll face at the Dallas one, but you'll faced in Ohio. And you'll also have a little bit of history in other leagues. Did you expect this one to go and require 4 or 5 maps, or did you expect this one to just be a 3-0 route for you guys?
I really didn't know. I haven't played this game for about 3 months. And then I got a text saying they needed a player. We didn't really have any prep or anything. I played 5 matches for my rank, and that was about it. I figured we were going to win, but I didn't think we were going to win 3-0.
That's what I wanted to know.
I think Fisher's a really good team, so I did not think it was going to be 3-0.
I think my question is a little bit along the same lines, but what was going on with the glass pick? Is there anything special about that operator too?
Have fun. I never really play Glaz, so I was just having fun pretty much. Was going a lot.
You got a lot of great headshots, and it was really fun to see.
Yeah, it was fun.
I felt like you guys were let off a leash on map 3. It felt like you guys were just kind of like going out there on map 3. IMAT was spawn peeking pretty much every round of the defense. You rocked Glaz every possible chance you possibly could when it came to the attack. Was there like a level of confidence that came after the 7-2 wins on map 1 and 2, or was that something that you guys were just planning to do already? Like, just let it loose on the third map?
No, I just think it was confidence. We play like we're better than everybody, even if we're not. We just always try and play confident, be aggressive.
Yeah, and mine more goes to, it links to that confidence. I'm more looking at, you had a 4-2 on every single map that you played today. How does that play into the second half? And more importantly, on those first 2 maps, how did it affect the team morale and how you went into each and every round? Because you managed to win them straight after the second half in the first 2 maps.
Well, we just kind of played aggressive. I kind of just shut my brain off. I don't know. Not really in the mode of siege. Pretty much just play Counter-Strike nowadays. So, but I know my team. I know Jet. He was taking control, telling us what to do. He's a really good leader. Matt too, leading us really well. And then they just let me do whatever I wanted, or I really just said I was going to do this, and then I wouldn't talk the rest of the round. So it all worked out. If you got 4 people playing structured and you have 1 person running around with no brain, they don't expect that 1 person.
I think I specifically called that out during the broadcast. You
said that exactly.
I said maybe Arv is just coming to this one. He's that chaos factor. He's the unknown, percentage. If they don't know what we're doing, then, if we don't know what we're doing, they don't know what we're doing. That's the way I want to phrase it.
That's pretty much what it was. I would find myself lost at times.
Now, context. No other team try this, please. This works when the 4 other players you have are essentially a team in and of themselves And then you can have a gunner step in and be that chaos factor like you were with that game. Or if I'll go ahead and give you a pedestal to stand on that we can't see you doing, so we'll assume that you are. We'll also assume you're extremely handsome. If you guys want to shout out the rest of your team, I know you already shouted out, I, Matt, and Hennessy, and everyone else between Con. If you want to shout out your family, your university, anything else, like if your platform to stand on, I'll let you go ahead and do so.
Only Tate. My teammates are nothing to me.
There you go.
Especially
All
IMAT.
right. The legend of Akron, the one that seemingly is going to be in the collegiate scene until I die at some point. Blasphemous. Blasphemous. Thank you all very much for joining us here in the interview. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. And we're looking forward to seeing Akron even further in NECC. But big congratulations on your victory once again.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Unfortunately, Binks, that's it for us. That's all we have here for R6 tonight. But there is plenty more esports action going underway. So thank you very much for joining me here in the booth. Thank you guys very much out there for watching. We've got ourselves League of Legends starting tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you guys tune in for that one. And plenty more esports to go throughout the rest of the week. We'll see you guys when that broadcast gets started and underway.